is Friday, July 18th. You're watching CTV Morning Live. Thank you so much for being with us. Ainsley McPhail took a trip to Morris this morning. The Morris Stampede is back this weekend. It is a pro rodeo show. We're going to talk a little bit more about what you could expect there, the year that it's, how many years it's been happening in that community, and the economic spin-off as well. But first, your headlines. More families are fleeing wildfires, and the province is working to offer comfort, not just safety, but it's a race against time. Superman and Supergirl dropped into the Winnipeg Humane Society, but not just for cuddles. Their visit comes with a call to action for adoptions. And dogs dressed to impress and ready to compete. It's the summer celebration that brings out the best in our four-legged friends. Bringing in Terry now. A lot of purple and yellow. Air quality still an issue this morning, Terry.
The area is growing, Rochelle. It's unfortunate to see. And even though here in the south, we're still not dealing with any of those warnings, you're probably going to notice that smoke creeping in over the weekend. 13 degrees. South winds right now, they're 6 kilometers per hour. The pressure is falling and the humidity is sitting at 81%. So yes, it's mostly northern Manitoba and now central Manitoba that is included in that straight up warning. We do have the advisory through much of northwestern Ontario, but you can see even there starting to see some of the warnings creeping across that eastern border. You remember when it was just Saskatchewan? Well, that's what happens when the winds are out of the west, and we could notice those winds shifting out of the west overnight, and then tomorrow a north wind. So this is why I'm saying we'll likely notice some of that smoke creeping into our neck of the woods as well. Right now, just a few clouds. You can see there's a little bit of precipitation showing up in areas just through the southwestern part of the province. Rolling along that southern border, a bit more could be showing up through parts of central Manitoba throughout the day today. It is going to be very scattered and patchy, though nothing very organized as far as precipitation goes. Clearing out again for Saturday, although I mentioned Saturday could be pretty smoky, so clearing out is only discussing the cloud cover, which, by the way, will be coming back again. Sunday, looking on the cloudier side, another round of precipitation to come. Some areas will see that Sunday. We might not see it until Sunday night, but continuing on into Monday as well. Back up now into the mid-20s, pretty much normal for this time of year, 26 degrees. What we're expecting tomorrow is that seasonal temp.
Thank you, Terry. The search for the remains of 2 murdered Indigenous women has wrapped up at Prairie Green Landfill. But the province is promising to search for the remains of a 3rd victim at another landfill soon. The remains of Morgan Harris and Mercedes Myron were found at Prairie Green Landfill earlier this year. In a media release, the Manitoba government says work at the landfill officially finished July 9th. A ceremony was held earlier this week to honor the women. According to the province, Brady Road Landfill will be searched soon for the remains of another victim, Ashley Shingoose. The remains of a 4th victim, Rebecca Comtois, were recovered back in June 2022. All 4 women are victims of convicted serial killer Jeremy Skibitsky. As more and more evacuees flee the wildfires, the province is working to find them a comfortable bed in hotels instead of a cot in emergency shelters. But it says that process is complicated and takes time. CTV's Denton Unger reports.
This is one of the rooms that we have reserved.
This hotel room at the Four Crowns Inn will soon be a temporary home for wildfire evacuees.
They're going through a very hard time in their life, and having better accommodations, having their own room, I think that helps at least a little bit.
General Manager Andrew Pomiegna says he set aside about a dozen rooms like this one when the province declared a state of emergency last week. Since then, he's been waiting for a call from the province, and on Thursday, it finally came. 5
rooms booked today by Red Cross. We're going to have another 4, I believe, ready either later this evening or tomorrow.
This is nearly 13,000 Manitobans have been displaced by wildfires. As of Wednesday, the province says 6,450 evacuees have been placed in hotels, while 1,200 are still sleeping on cots in congregate shelters, like this one set up here at the RBC Convention Centre. The Four Crowns Inn is just one of several hotels here in Winnipeg that CTV News has spoke with that say they've had hotel rooms set aside for evacuees and have just been waiting for the province to fill them.
Really, that process is not simple.
Assistant Deputy Minister Christine Stevens says the province tries to match hotel availability with the supports evacuees need, like accessible rooms, daily meals, and proximity to medical appointments and community.
All of those things matter a lot to us, and that means that sometimes it's complex matching the right fit to the hotel availability that we have.
Stevens says since Monday, the province has moved about 700 evacuees into hotels. And that's welcome news for Michael Juice with the Manitoba Hotel Association, who says many hotels are ready and willing to help as needed.
It's been heartwarming to have hotels reach out to and say, how can we help and help our fellow Manitobans in this time of need.
At the Four Crowns Inn, Paul Miegna says he'll work to provide more rooms as needed.
If we're all going to chip in, then we can get through it as best as we can as a community.
Danton Unger, CTV News, Winnipeg.
The province says it is working to get more hotels available. As of Thursday, the province is working with 68 hotels to house evacuees. The province says many people are also staying with family or friends, while others are staying outside Manitoba. A 39-year-old man has been charged with hijacking a plane that disrupted operations at Vancouver Airport.
It is alleged that the individual threatened a flight instructor and then took control of the aircraft.
Airport sources say Shahir Kasim told controllers repeatedly he was a messenger of Allah and was protesting climate change, something echoed in his social media posts. YVR operations were shut down Tuesday and planes diverted until the plane landed less than an hour after taking off from Victoria. Mounties say no one was injured. The White House has issued an update on the health of the U.S. President. Donald Trump has been diagnosed with a condition that causes leg swelling.
Bilateral lower extremity venous Doppler ultrasounds were performed and revealed chronic venous insufficiency, a benign and common condition, particularly in individuals over the age of 70. Importantly, there was no evidence of deep vein thrombosis or arterial disease.
Photos of Trump's swollen hands and legs circulated online earlier this week, spurring headlines and speculation that the president was hiding a health issue. The White House says the announcement was part of an effort to be transparent. No signs of heart failure or systemic illness were found. The Winnipeg Humane Society is tapping into some star power to hopefully boost adoptions.
This is the best day of my life.
And that's saying something coming from the Man of Steel. Yes, Superman and Supergirl flew on over to the Humane Society Thursday afternoon, possibly in search of their own crypto. This comes after the recent Superman movie introduced moviegoers to Superman's trusty canine companion. And while films and pop culture can sometimes lead to a boost in adoptions, the Humane Society says to keep in mind it's still a big commitment.
Adopting an animal into your home is a lifelong commitment, that there is amount of effort that has to go into caring and maintaining the well-being of any animal you bring into your home, and it should be a careful decision to be made.
Now, the dog you see here is named Shuffles, and he's actually a therapy dog and therefore not up for adoption. But there's about 10 other dogs at the Humane Society right now waiting for their own heroes to arrive. The Dog Days of Summer are happening in Windsor, Ontario this weekend.
Goal is to try to get as much as we possibly can to donate to the Humane Society and the St. John's Ambulance Therapy Dogs.
The event is a celebration of man's best friend. It includes a doggy fashion show and an obedience competition. There's also entertainment and food trucks. It's also a free event, but donations are welcome to help with the therapy dog program. A Canadian has become the most expensive player in women's soccer history.
I just felt like now is the right time, and it's always been my dream to play for a club like Arsenal as well, and they're doing so well.
Olivia Smith set a new benchmark with a reported £1 million transfer from Liverpool to Arsenal in the UK. That's more than $1.8 million Canadian. The previous record was £900,000. The 20-year-old has agreed to a 4-year deal. Back in 2019, she became the youngest woman ever to play for Canada at just 15 years old. How great is that? Taking a look now what's happening along McPhillips Street. Things are moving well over here. It looks like a little bit of haze in the sky, though. If you see any problems out on the streets, please let us know. Let's go now to Ainsley, who is live in Morris this morning. Good morning, Ainsley.
Good morning, Rochelle. What a beautiful morning previewing the Manitoba Stampede. 6 decades, that's right, 60 years of this amazing event with rodeo, got bull riding, chuck wagon racing, and so much more. Over the last couple of years, it's certainly grown, and those events have been sold out. So hundreds and hundreds of people coming here to Morris for that fair and for events as well, like dog competitions, mounted shooting, and an event involving the RCMP2. There's live music, there's a petting zoo, and it really does a lot to bring people into this community. I went for the first time a couple of years ago, Rochelle, and I have to say, it was the highlight of my summer. Just such a great vibe. So throughout the morning, we're going to learn just how many people are coming for the 60th year and if they really have sold out for another year in a row.
Sounds good. Thank you, Ainsley. Terry, also tonight, the Bombers are taking on the Calgary Stampeders right here at home. The game is sold out. I don't know. Can you tell that I'm a hardcore fan?
You look ready to go, Rochelle. 100%.
I'm going to the game. I'm excited.
I know you've been talking about it all week. I even put my football on the map yesterday just to help you celebrate. A lot of people will be down there tonight, getting ready to cheer on the Bombers, and Mother Nature, she's bringing the goods, coming through for a beautiful evening ahead. In fact, it's a pretty beautiful start to your day. A few extra clouds right now. 12 degrees is where we're sitting at the moment, which is pretty close to seasonal, 13 being that normal low, and the winds are very light and still out of the south, 6 kilometers per hour at this moment. The pressure is falling and the humidity sitting at 80%. Now, those few extra clouds, the sun will still be able to shine through them today. We'll enjoy some sunny breaks, or at least partly sunny conditions, and really pleasant temperatures today, starting to get a little bit warmer and a little bit closer to seasonal. So for those of you that liked the cooler weather later on this week, just know it's going to be kicked up a degree or two. 25 is where we're probably going to be topping out today. Now, the winds through most of the day today will be out of the south. We will have that shift, though, out of the west overnight and out of the north for tomorrow, and you might notice some smoke moving back in again. Smoke warnings have spread through more of northern and now central Manitoba, so even though the conditions would otherwise be clear and sunny, that smoke will continue to be a factor. Taking a break right now. We'll be back with more CTV Morning Live.
CTV Morning Live weather is brought to you by Destination Dinner Stage, Manitoba's only musical dinner theater.
Good morning, it is 6:15. A warning now about river water quality. A group called Wilderness Committee has found extreme concentrations of dangerous E. coli bacteria in a Winnipeg river.
This is also a health risk, right? Because there's somebody standing around the corner fishing right now, and we know what the water quality test was. They don't know that they shouldn't be touching their hooks or their fishing line.
The samples were taken earlier this month. Tests on the Red and Assiniboine rivers showed E. coli levels within Manitoba's beach guidelines. But that wasn't the case for a sample taken from the Seine River near Happy Land Park in St. Boniface. The lab found E. coli levels there to be more than 8 times the level that the province uses to close down beaches. The organization says Winnipeg needs a citywide water quality monitoring program and a way to warn the public.
We build infrastructure for people to use the river. There's a kayak dock on the Seine River. We have boat launches on the Red River. People go on the Assiniboine River at the Forks all the time. So what does the quality of the water really look like?
The group says it doesn't know what caused the spike in bacterial levels in that area of the river. And from coast to coast across Canada, many beaches are closed because of high E. coli levels. CTV's Adrian Gobriel on what happened to a teen after she tried to beat the heat.
A red flag risk.
The worst temperatures for E. coli are right what we're seeing now, 30 degrees to 35 degrees.
With a heat warning in place for parts of Ontario, Quebec, and eastern Canada, cooling off in the lake can at times pose a shocking health risk.
I was bleeding. I couldn't keep anything down. I ended up throwing up and then running to the bathroom every 5 seconds.
Lindsay Page ended up in hospital for 10 days this month after a visit to Nickel Beach along the Ontario shores of Lake Erie.
We just kind of went in the water a couple times to cool off. I was about up to just under my chest area, I was right here.
While the beach she visited wasn't closed due to E. coli at the time, the 17-year-old was still diagnosed with an E. coli infection. Her doctors believe she was infected while swimming in Lake Erie.
They said I could feel the symptoms for up to 6 weeks.
While the beach Page swam at remains open across the country from Vancouver to PEI, multiple waterways from coast to coast are closed due to high E. coli levels. Warm summer weather across parts of the country is a contributing factor.
Almost an incubator for E. coli to reproduce and cause problems for swimming holes, for lakes.
Multiple studies have raised concerns about water safety tests on E. coli, often taking too long to alert the public of unsafe levels.
I really think it's important to keep up with the E. coli management.
One sure sign of dangerously high E. coli levels is a red flag like the one behind me. As for the heat wave, well, it's already lifted for here in southern Ontario. It's expected Quebec will get some reprieve, and by Monday, Atlantic Canada will be released from the sizzling summer temperatures. Adrian Gabriel, CTV News, Toronto.
8 children in the UK have been spared from devastating genetic diseases thanks to a new 3-person in vitro fertilization technique.
Families, in some families that we've looked after for many years, it is clearly running through the families. This disease is running through the families. And therefore, what we're trying to do is prevent that transmission.
The technique, which is banned in the U.S., transfers pieces from inside the mother's fertilized egg, plus the nucleus of the father's sperm, into a healthy egg from an anonymous donor. The procedure prevents the transfer of mutated genes from inside the mother's mitochondria that could cause incurable and potentially fatal disorders.
And this means that patients develop symptoms in organs which require a lot of energy, such as the brain or the heart or the muscles, and it can lead to devastating disease. For example, rapid heart failure, sudden death, neurodegenerative diseases, for example. So that's what we're trying to prevent.
The 8 children now range in age from infancy to 2 years old. All were healthy at birth, with blood tests showing no or low levels of mitochondrial gene mutations. The results were published in the New England Journal of Medicine. One of the world's leading guitar makers is giving a nod to a Winnipeg musician. Fender Guitars has created a limited edition Ariel Posen Stratocaster. You may know Posen from his work with Winnipeg's Brothers Landreth. He's now a solo artist. Rolling Stone magazine has called him a modern-day guitar hero. A few years ago, Posen developed his own guitar, combining his favorite attributes from 2 Fender classic models. Well, Fender liked what he did and created this limited edition model.
To go into a guitar store and see this hanging on a wall, I feel like would be a culmination of my entire life and career as a musician. It's just like one of those things you never really dream of experiencing, to have a signature guitar.
Ariel Posen has North American tour slated for the fall. No Winnipeg dates, though. Your best bet is December 11th in Minneapolis. A rock from the red planet more than 200 million kilometers away has set a new record on Earth.
Not just Martian, it is the biggest piece of Mars on the planet.
This massive Martian rock sold for $7.2 million Canadian at Sotheby's, becoming the most expensive meteorite ever auctioned. The 54-pound chunk broke off the surface of Mars, crashed into Earth, and was first discovered in the Sahara Desert in 2023. So cool. Here's a look now at what's going on the Norwood Bridge. Looks like things are moving well over here. No issues to tell you about at this point. If you see any problems on the drive, please let us know.
We're looking now through the Bathfitter Live Eye. Bathfitter, your bath and shower experts for more than 40 years. And you can see we've got a few extra clouds hanging around outside first thing this morning. It's not going to be as bright or as sunny, but we will enjoy some sunny moments as they break through those clouds. And the temperatures, they're probably going to be a degree or 2 warmer than yesterday. Starting out right now at 12 degrees. You remember yesterday was as cool as 6, I believe, when we began the morning. 9 degrees over in Portage, Dauphin, Roblin, so a few places and Pinawa, where the high single digits are being experienced. Most places, though, are at least in the double digits or even closer to those more seasonal temps of 13 degrees. Northern Manitoba, it was just earlier this week that Thompson started out at 4 degrees. You're still better than that, starting out at 6 now. A few 9s showing up at the most northern stretch, and then mid-teens in that smokier stretch, because yes, that heavy smoke, it's back again. And all through parts of kind of north central Manitoba, that's where the warnings have been issued, and even starting to move a little bit further to the east yet. All of the yellow, that's the advisory that Environment Canada issues, which is just a slightly downgraded version of the purple. We're not dealing with any warnings right now. We do have some possible precipitation, not necessarily in Winnipeg or the southeast, but just in this very southwestern corner of the province. As far as temperatures go today, it will eventually be warming up to almost seasonal values. By noontime, we're in those low 20s right up into northern Manitoba, and then mid 20s expected as we're reaching our highs today. 26 normal for this time of year. Just low 20s across northern Manitoba. Again, pretty close to seasonal, and a seasonal 26 is what we're looking at for tomorrow, but we could notice that smoke increasing through the overnight and tomorrow. Beautiful shot of the canola fields contrasting against that bright blue sky. Thanks to Nancy for the photo, and keep them coming please to Winnipeg weather at ctv.ca. We're taking a break. We'll see you soon.
Good morning. A PEI landlord who thought she was renting to 3 university students and their mother is on the hook for tens of thousands in damages. And she's sounding the alarm on rental disputes playing out across the country. Here's CTV's Maria Saru.
No cats.
Kittens left behind after being bred in the bathroom. But that's not all coming out of the woodwork.
I'm in shock. I'm devastated. Seeing it being destroyed, not being able to do anything about it, it's very gutting.
Tamara DeVries is still discovering new damage after her former tenants were evicted Monday.
The kitchen is incredibly filthy. You can take a look at the fridge, the freezer. All the appliances are missing, cabinets are broken.
She thought there were 4. Instead, DeVries says 12 people, and at one point, 14 animals lived here. If it wasn't for the crown molding, this living room might be hard to recognize. The dining chairs are in pieces. One back door is missing. In total, there's about $80,000 in damages DeVries says she's on the hook for. And outside, things aren't much better. That's a hill of horse manure you see behind me, and it smells like it. DeVries says her former tenants dumped truckloads across the property, including the well, the main water source. It took 5 months to evict the family. Hearings with the PEI Regulatory and Appeals Commission, known as IRAC, were postponed. Tenants appealed, and the process dragged out.
I don't feel any protection. Not only that, but there is no consequences for the damages caused.
In Ontario, the eviction process can take even longer, sometimes more than 7 months. By contrast, British Columbia has one of the fastest timelines, with tenants out usually within weeks. But here in PEI, the red tape is discouraging small landlords, says the Residential Rental Association of PEI's executive director.
We've got a lot of good tenants, and it's difficult for them because properties are going to be taken off the market.
In a statement to CTV, IRAC said the timeline associated with the appeal process is dependent upon a number of factors, including complexity of the file. DeVries says for her, the damage is done. She's urging the province to make changes so others don't go through the same. Maria Saru, CTV News, New Glasgow, Prince Edward Island.
CTV Morning Live is brought to you by Robin's Donuts, your favorite stop.
It's 12 degrees outside this morning. We do have a few extra clouds kicking around first thing. South winds on the lighter side, just 6 kilometers per hour. The pressure is falling and the humidity sitting at 80%. Smoke warnings across northern Manitoba starting to spread further now into central Manitoba and even a little bit further east yet. And then, of course, there's the advisory. That's the yellow, just a slightly downgraded version, but I wouldn't be surprised. We've had this spreading further to the west, and more winds are expected to bring some of that smoke right on into the southern part of the province as well, more so overnight and throughout tomorrow, not necessarily through the day today. So we may get another day to kind of enjoy more pleasant temperatures, conditions, but pleasant temperatures as well. We'll see the mercury climbing maybe a degree or 2 warmer than it's been. Here you can see the extra clouds that we're waking up to this morning and a little bit of that precipitation rolling through the very southwestern part of the province. I don't think we're going to be seeing that precipitation not until the other side of the weekend. So again, you're in charge of your own gardens and the lawns or whatever else needs watering. Your pets, you. Just make sure you're staying hydrated. 25 degrees, that's what we're looking at for a high temperature today, with winds remaining out of the south through the day, but those winds will be shifting overnight. A west wind as we drop down to 12 with just a few clouds, and that smoke starting to seep in will continue to do so as those winds are out of the north tomorrow. So mainly sunny, but probably smoky, and a seasonal high of 26. From there, heavier clouds, and then finally some rain as we're looking ahead to next week.
Thank you, Terry. Winnipeg's mayor is expressing frustration over the speed at which the province's Your Way Home strategy is moving forward.
The public is frustrated. I'm frustrated. I don't see our numbers right now of in the encampments going down yet.
Mayor Scott Gillingham says he believes the province's plan is heading in the right direction, but he says it isn't moving fast enough to make supportive housing units available to get people out of encampments. His comments come as a motion before City Council seeks to prevent encampments from being set up in some public spaces frequently used by families, such as playgrounds, spray pads, and community centers.
I think we would be wise to look at what's happened in other cities and what's worked, what hasn't worked, what has been legally challenged.
Gillingham says the city is also working with the province and outreach partners to find places where encampments can be limited. Mounties are asking for your help after a Tesla Cybertruck was vandalized at the Winnipeg Folk Festival. RCMP say they got a report Monday that a Tesla Cybertruck, like the one on your screen, had profanity written on it while parked at the event. An RCMP spokesperson was unable to share what the two words were, only that it was not political or racial in nature. The police service is releasing these images in hopes of identifying the suspect. Those with information are being asked to call Oakbank RCMP or Crime Stoppers. A Linden Woods homeowner says he was convinced a response from 311 about his broken curb was a typo. Rolf Netzel phoned 311 to see if someone could look at the crumbling curb leading to his driveway and set a repair date. But as CTV's Jeff Keel shows you now, the city says they'll get around to it, but it could take up to 20 years.
Every year, a new chunk of concrete breaks away from the curb leading to Rolf Netzel's driveway. This part easily pops off using a shovel.
I've been patching it up for the last 5.5 years, so you can see different colors of gray patching.
But the last time a portion of the curb broke away, the hole left behind was too long and too deep to fix. So the Linden Woods homeowner made this makeshift ramp out of wood to ensure he and his wife could make it up the driveway from the street.
You puncture your tire going up a sharp incline like that. It's even worse than a regular curb.
Netzel blames some of the crumbling on erosion, but he believes it's mostly the snow graders that come by every winter. So he called 311 hoping someone from the city could come take a look and possibly schedule a repair. An email came promptly saying his request will be looked into by July 4th, 2045.
This has to be a typo.
It was no typo. In a statement to CTV News, the city confirms the timeline is accurate. The current service level agreement for non-hazardous curb damage is approximately 20 years. We just do not have the resources to more quickly repair curbs that don't pose a safety risk. That said, curbs could be repaired sooner if their street comes up for a renewal in the interim. Netzel isn't going to wait up to 2 decades to see if the city will help him with his curb or not. He does have a plan B. Hire a crew of friends.
And do the whole front properly with rebar and all kinds of stuff. It's going to cost time, money, and perhaps a couple of cases of beer.
Jeff Keel, CTV News, Winnipeg.
According to the city's website, homeowners are generally responsible for repairs to their approaches, but a permit is required. An opinion poll commissioned by Manitoba Hydro suggests some people are open to paying higher rates and switching their energy use to nighttime. The poll comes as the Crown Utility is asking regulators to approve rate hikes of 3.5% in each of the next 3 years. The survey asked respondents whether they would be willing to pay more every month to keep power reliable and avoid drastic power outages. Most who were presented with a $6 or $9 monthly increase said yes, and more than half of respondents said they would consider switching to nighttime use if it meant a lower rate to run appliances like dishwashers. The online survey of more than 1,200 Manitobans was done in February. Is your family ready to smile for the camera? The Manitoba Museum wants to hear from you. It's looking for families to take part in a promotional photo shoot next month. Everyone is encouraged to apply, including multi-generational families, those who identify as Indigenous, LGBTQ2S+, and people with disabilities. The shoot should take about 2 hours on August 5th, and the museum says you'll receive an honorarium for your time. You have until Tuesday to apply. Just head to manitobamuseum.ca. Here's a look now at what's going on in traffic at Portage at Polo Park. Things look like they're picking up over here, but overall moving well. No issues to tell you about. Let's take a look now at your gas prices. The Canadian average is $1.37. The provincial and Winnipeg averages are $1.30. The lowest price in the city is $1.29. All this info is on gasbuddy.com.
Price at the pump brought to you by kidneycard.ca. Get a free tow and a tax receipt for value of your car.
Let's go back now to Ainsley McPhail, who's live in Morris this morning. The Morris Stampede is back this weekend. Good morning, Ainsley.
Manitoba's premier Stampede event turns 60 this year. Mike Belisle joins us now, the rodeo director. Let's chat about this. How did it all start?
A group of local businessmen decided to start a rodeo, and they just talked to Harry Vold and started it overnight one day to try to rival everybody else, and we've survived for 60 years.
Not just survived, it seems to be growing. I came a couple years ago. People were packed in these grandstands, anticipating another sellout, perhaps?
I believe we will. We have the last 2.5 years, so please get your tickets early or call the head to make sure there's room, and it'll be full.
And all of those events that people expect to see, of course, they're going to see them again. The rodeo, the chuck wagon. Let's talk about the main events and the happenings.
Well, we've obviously a pro rodeo in the wagons, and we have the Gathering of Nations on the other side, on the fair side. There is gymkhana, mounted shooting, craft sale, all the things you'd expect to see. Our beer gardens, we moved our grandstand stage outside the area this year, so yeah, that's where we're going.
And it really does bring a community together, whether it be the preparation and the planning of this, which I'm sure takes a year, or just the community level scale of the event. What does that mean for this and the greater area?
Well, the economic impact is obvious. Everybody in town is full, and they're pounding with everything that's going on. The people that are required to pull this off are tremendous. The community is unbelievable. The RM has been so supportive. This is a thriving economic driver in the area.
We're almost at a time. Where should people get tickets? What should they know before they come on this weekend?
Manitoba Stampede. You need to, it's best for everybody to grab your tickets online. Come down prepared, rain or shine. We go anyways, unless it's a real sloppy mess. But other than that, just show up, have a great time as usual.
Well, I don't want to speak too soon, but come on. Look, what a beautiful morning it's been so far. We'll see you at 7:27.
Okay, thank you, Ainsley. Let's go out to the rooftop. Yeah, she says it looks good in Morris. How's it looking here in Winnipeg?
Looking not too bad, and feeling not bad at all either. Winds out of the south have kept that air feeling nice and fresh and clean, at least for now, because I can't say that about the entire province. In fact, those smoky zones are growing, and we could find ourselves in one as early as tomorrow, so may not be ideal all weekend long, but this morning it's looking good. A few extra clouds, but the sun is still out here. Well, it's always out here, but I'm seeing some breaks in those clouds so that we can actually see the fact that the sun is out here. 12 degrees right now, 6K winds out of the south. The pressure is falling, the humidity sitting at 80%. Now, I mentioned that smoky zone growing. It was mostly just northern Manitoba yesterday, but now much of central Manitoba included in those heavy smoke warnings. And in fact, it's even starting to just kind of bleed across that eastern border into parts of northwestern Ontario as well, and much of northwestern Ontario. If it's not that smaller warning zone, it's a much larger advisory zone. And we too could notice that smoke increasing with west winds expected overnight and then north winds through the day tomorrow. It would otherwise be sunny and maybe even a little bit warmer. Mid-20s today and that seasonal 26 waiting for us tomorrow. Taking a break right now. We'll be back with more on CTV Morning Live.
Weather brought to you by Blinds Are Beautiful at 900 Lorimer Boulevard, featuring Hunter Douglas shades.
Looking at the early markets, a modestly green start to the trading day. Dow futures are up 22 points this morning. NASDAQ futures are also in the green, gaining about 15 points. S&P futures are ticking up 2, rising by 2. The Canadian dollar seeing a slight dip. Overseas, the Hang Seng is on the rise, up 326 points, while Japan's Nikkei is down 82. Good morning, it is 6:45. A warning from police about a convicted sex predator who was released from prison Thursday. 43-year-old Glenn Gregory Tyler Pozniak has spent the last decade at Stony Mountain Institution. In 2015, he was convicted of sex crimes, assaults, and making child pornography. He's now out of prison and expected to live in Winnipeg. The Manitoba Integrated High-Risk Sex Offender Unit says Pozniak is a high risk to reoffend in a sexually violent way against boys and male teens. If you have information about Pozniak, you're asked to call the Manitoba Integrated High-Risk Sex Offender Unit, Winnipeg Police, your local RCMP detachment, or Crime Stoppers. A major bust for the Winnipeg Police Guns and Gangs Unit. An investigation that began in May has resulted in 6 arrests in 4 locations. And while executing search warrants, police uncovered a stash of weapons and drugs, including a loaded revolver and ammunition. The drugs they found include cocaine, meth, ecstasy, and fentanyl, with a total estimated street value of more than $70,000. Police also found stolen property, cash, and drug-making equipment. The 6 people police arrested now face a slew of charges, including drug trafficking and possessing a firearm. The Prime Minister fielded some tough questions from First Nations leaders at a summit in Ottawa, raising concerns over the government's controversial new law to fast-track national projects. Mark Carney said he was ready to listen. CTV's Rachel Aiello now on whether people felt heard.
Prime Minister Mark Carney opened Major Project Summit, trying to turn the page.
We together can write a new chapter in the relationship between the Government of Canada and First Nations. And those aren't just words. This isn't an aspiration. This is the law.
And while Carney stood by his law, those in the room say he also heard them out.
The agenda was, I would say, abandoned to accommodate the speeches of the chiefs and the concerns of the chiefs, which I feel was a good move on the Prime Minister's part.
The hours of meetings started with skepticism from chiefs who are still upset by the government ramming through new legislation that empowers Cabinet to fast-track national interest projects like pipelines.
He's got to come up with some commitments. Firm commitments.
I don't think we've gotten to a place where you're going to see any agreement come out of this.
But when it wrapped, there was some cautious optimism.
I'm glad that the Prime Minister and Cabinet Minister stayed all day, but still, I think the way the legislation is crafted, there's, as we heard today from many chiefs, there's still a lot of trust issues.
Outside the closed-door conversations, though, emotions ran high.
This is what we call our native land.
This summit is a political theater.
And while views varied on what the Prime Minister had to say, there was agreement that what matters is action, something Carney's government will soon be tested on.
There's many steps to complete before we actually select a project, and the Prime Minister wants to make sure that that's done well.
The government committed to further Indigenous engagement, but also said they plan to get their new Major Projects Approvals Office up and running by Labor Day.
A push has come from Saskatchewan's Premier to reduce interprovincial trade barriers. Scott Moe is urging his provincial counterparts to join the new West Partnership Trade Agreement. The agreement was set up in 2010 by Saskatchewan, Alberta, and BC. Manitoba joined in 2017. U.S. President Donald Trump has ordered the release of more documents related to Jeffrey Epstein as he faces more calls for transparency.
There says all credible documents, records, and communications. Well, who's going to decide that? Attorney General Bondi in conjunction with Donald Trump.
The House of Representatives debated through the night a bill to cut $9 billion in funding to foreign aid and public broadcasting. Voting was delayed for hours as Republicans and Democrats argued over the handling of the Epstein files. In response to the pressure, President Trump has ordered Attorney General Pam Bondi to release grand jury testimony from the Epstein case. This comes in the heels of a report from the Wall Street Journal saying a note with President Trump's name on it and a lewd drawing was part of a collection of letters sent to Epstein for his 50th birthday in 2003. Trump has denied the reporting, saying on a social media post, quote, "The Wall Street Journal printed a fake letter, supposedly, to Epstein. These are not my words, not the way I talk. Also, I don't draw pictures." Meet Sudbury, Ontario's newest soccer team.
Everybody in Sudbury being able to play soccer, and this is the year that we're actually making that happen. So everybody has a place to play here.
Sudburnia SC is the name of the city's all-ability soccer team. Kids on the team have been playing for 2 weeks now, and they're having a blast. It's basically soccer with a few modifications. The team has been hit with parents, too, who say their kids really enjoy playing the sport and the one-on-one time with the coaches. Here's a look at what's happening in traffic at Confusion Corner. Things are picking up over here, as you can see, for your start of your Friday morning drive. Things look good, though. No issues to tell you about at this point.
It's 12 degrees. You can see that sun shining from kind of behind the clouds. South winds are on the lighter side, 6 kilometers per hour. The pressure is falling and the humidity sitting at 80%. The wind's light and still out of the south, so the air is on the cleaner side still through the most southern part of the province. But that area where the smoke warnings are in place has started to stretch now into central Manitoba and even a little bit further east yet, as well as, of course, the downgraded advisory. But it's still going to be a bit of an issue, and it could be an issue for us over the course of the weekend, too, as our winds are expected to be coming out of the west tonight and then out of the north tomorrow. But today it's a south wind and perhaps a little bit of rolling precipitation right along that most southern border. Many of us won't be seeing that here in southern Manitoba. Some parts of northern or central Manitoba, though, may get clipped with a bit of precipitation. The possibility of showers, maybe a thunderstorm. Island Lake, you could be seeing some of that later today. Churchill, 12 degrees. You're one of the cooler spots today. Everybody else, some high teens or low 20s. Most places will experience fairly seasonal temperatures. And then, yes, in that more central zone, the possibility of that precipitation, showers, possible thunderstorms. That goes through places like Swan River, Dauphin as well. And even over onto the eastern side, Barrens River, you could be seeing a bit of that central band of precipitation, or for those of you right along that most southern border as well, that possibility of a little bit of late shower activity. Again, any precipitation is welcome, not so much the lightning strikes, but rain, yes, we'll take it. Doesn't look like we're going to get our turn with it until the other side of the weekend, or perhaps actually Sunday night, and then continuing on into Monday.
Thank you, Terry. Let's check in now on Bo at Bounce 99.9. Good morning, Bo. Happy Friday. It looks like we're sporting the same colors this morning.
Yes, we are. And listen, ask me about 10:30 tonight, and I might be really happy if the Bombers come up with a win tonight.
They need it.
I love the colors, though. Really do.
Me too.
Whew, yeah, we do. So we all need a little summer road trip, and there's unusual places, attractions, museums that maybe you've come across. Last weekend, my granddaughter Allison and her mom went to Edmonton for a soccer tournament, and on the way back, they hit up a few things, including in Alberta, the Gopher Hole Museum.
Oh.
And I thought, what? Yeah, it's a very popular place just outside of Calgary. And really what it is, it's dead gophers. They're stuffed. They're dressed up in costumes.
Oh,
yes, and they put them in these different scenes. So yeah, it's the weirdest thing. Very strange. So Gopher Hole Museum, definitely a quirky place. Before I tell you one of mine, if I have time, I want to hear from you, because I think you've gone to a pretty strange museum.
Yeah, well, throughout university, I worked at a shoe store. It was called the Bata Shoe Store, and it doesn't really exist in Canada anymore, but the Bata Shoe Museum is still in Toronto. So I went to the Bata Shoe Museum to see, you know, the history of shoes, which I love. I've always loved shoes, and now even more since I work there. And they have really cool things in there. They have Elvis Presley's blue patent shoe. They also had Elton John's platform boots. They had really cool things there, including, I have another one, Terry Fox's running shoe. And so it's, and the whole building is designed like a giant shoe box. And so it was a really great experience. You have to check it out if ever you want to, if you're obsessed with shoes like I am.
Well, the big question, though, Rochelle, is can you buy any shoes at the museum?
No. It's all just on display. How about you, Bo?
I've been to an accordion museum in Quebec, and I don't even like the accordion, so that's a squeeze box affair there.
Yes.
Listen, have a great weekend. Have a great holiday.
Thank you. Many can recall the jingle of the ice cream truck on a hot day. Now a trio of Transcona siblings is cashing in on frozen treats and learning valuable lessons along the way. CTV's Daniel Homerson has their story.
good product, a catchy name, and dedicated employees. These young minds have learned a thing or two over the past couple summers.
Running a business is actually quite easy. It's just the starting off that is a little hard.
Malachi, Micah, and Hannah Jingra launched the Tip Top Popsicle Shop last year after seeing a social media post about an old Dickie D bike. So they bought a freezer, hitched it up, and hit the streets of Transcona serving up frozen fan favorites.
Probably the firecracker. People, I assume, find it nostalgic, and so they buy it for the sake of nostalgia.
And they say neighbors are taking notice of their bright colors and familiar jingles.
Ice cream! So a lot of people have been cheering and clapping and that sort of thing.
Hannah is in charge of customer experience. Micah is head of design, and Malachi handles the logistics.
Usually I'm the one driving the bike and dealing with the money from people.
The kids say the Tip Top Popsicle Shop is helping them prepare for what's ahead in life.
I think they've learned some sense of responsibility. I think they've learned that we live in a great place, that the community has been so supportive of them.
They've also learned about giving back. They donate a portion of their profits.
Some people need help. Maybe this is a big family or they're struggling, so sometimes we just help them out instead.
And like any great summer job, they're creating memories to last a lifetime.
It can be frustrating at times, but I've always loved my brothers, and it's always been a fun family experience.
Daniel Halmerson, CTV News, Winnipeg.
That's so sweet. The Winnipeg Sea Bears season continues, and we want you to be part of the action. The Sea Bears will hit the court against the Edmonton Stingers on July 25th. So if you want to be in the stands, we've got the contest for you. CTV Morning Live is giving away a family pack of 4 tickets to the game. Head over to our website, ctvnewswinnipeg.ca, and hit our contest page for all the entry details. Don't miss your shot. Coming up, we are going to take a break here. We'll be back with your 7 o'clock headlines. Good morning. It is 7 o'clock on Friday, July 18th. You're watching CTV Morning Live. Right now is the time where when you are outside around your fire, or if you're enjoying the outdoors, you should look up to the sky at nighttime because the Perseids are back this year. So we're going to hear from astronomer Scott Young telling us what they are, what's going on, and how long you can expect to see them, as well as how many shooting stars you can expect to see in that night sky. But first, your headlines. Some evacuees moving from shelters to hotels while the province says it's the better option. Plus, Manitoba expands ankle monitoring program. Who's being tracked under new bail rules? And seaweed could replace plastic from ocean to aisle. This bag's making waves. Bring it in, Terry. Now it is going to be a big night for the Bombers tonight. I'm excited. How's the weather going to hold up?
It's going to be a beautiful night, Rochelle. Mother Nature, she's on board too. And the conditions, well, even to kick off your morning, are pretty spectacular. 12 degrees right now. You can see a little bit of that haze. That could actually worsen as we're moving on into the weekend. South winds for now, though, keeping things a little bit fresher and cleaner, at least compared to other parts of the province. The wind is on the lighter side, just 6 clicks. The pressure falling and the humidity at 80%. So 12 degrees is pretty much normal for this time of year. That air quality warning, though, that's the thing that's growing. You can see it was just through northern Manitoba, now much of central Manitoba included in that, and even starting to push a little bit further to the east, as well as that advisory, which has also grown. And we could see that expanding into the southern part of the province with west winds overnight and then north winds on the way for tomorrow. Right now, all we're seeing through southern Manitoba is a little bit of light precipitation in this very southwestern corner, but anybody right along that very southern line could be seeing that precipitation. And then a little bit more actually is going to be developing through parts of central Manitoba. This might help somewhat with the fire situation, but it really doesn't look like it's going to amount to much. Not a very organized system at all. Very scattered, patchy precipitation. Clearing out for Saturday, although I mentioned it could very well be on the smokier side. Seasonal temperatures for Saturday, and still warm on Sunday, though those heavier clouds are moving back in again, bringing another round of rain. Some parts of the province will see that sooner than others. We could be seeing that precipitation overnight Sunday, maybe even by Sunday evening, overnight and into Monday. That's when we'll really get a round of much needed rain. And our art today, is obviously a painting by Bob. He gets excited every spring about the mushrooms. So thank you, Bob, for this, and keep them coming, please, to Winnipeg Weather at ctv.ca.
Thanks, Terry. The search for the remains of 2 murdered Indigenous women has wrapped up at Prairie Green landfill, but the province is promising to search for the remains of a 3rd victim at another landfill soon. The remains of Morgan Harris and Mercedes Myron were found at Prairie Green landfill earlier this year. In a media release, the Manitoba government says work at the landfill officially finished July the 9th. A ceremony was held earlier this week to honor the women. According to the province, Brady Road landfill will be searched soon for the remains of another victim, Ashley Shingoose. The remains of a 4th victim, Rebecca Comtois, were recovered back in June 2022. All 4 women are victims of convicted serial killer Jeremy Skibitsky. As more and more evacuees flee the wildfires, the province is working to find them a comfortable bed in hotels instead of a cot in emergency shelters. But it says that process is complicated and takes time. CTV's Danton Unger reports.
This is one of the rooms that we have reserved.
This hotel room at the Four Crowns Inn will soon be a temporary home for wildfire evacuees.
They're going through a very hard time in their life, and having better accommodations, having their own room, I think that helps at least a little bit.
General Manager Andrew Pomiegna says he set aside about a dozen rooms like this one when the province declared a state of emergency last week. Since then, he's been waiting for a call from the province, and on Thursday, it finally came.
5 rooms booked today by Red Cross. We're going to have another 4, I believe, ready either later this evening or tomorrow.
This is nearly 13,000 Manitobans have been displaced by wildfires. As of Wednesday, the province says 6,450 evacuees have been placed in hotels, while 1,200 are still sleeping on cots in congregate shelters, like this one set up here at the RBC Convention Centre. The Four Crowns Inn is just one of several hotels here in Winnipeg that CTV News has spoke with that say they've had hotel rooms set aside for evacuees and have just been waiting for the province to fill them.
Really, that process is not simple.
Assistant Deputy Minister Christine Stevens says the province tries to match hotel availability with the supports evacuees need, like accessible rooms, daily meals, and proximity to medical appointments and community.
All of those things matter a lot to us, and that means that sometimes it's complex matching the right fit to the hotel availability that we have.
Stevens says since Monday, the province has moved about 700 evacuees into hotels, and that's welcome news for Michael Juice with the Manitoba Hotel Association, who says many hotels are ready and willing to help as needed.
It's been heartwarming to have hotels reach out to and say, how can we help and help our fellow Manitobans in this time of need.
At the Four Crowns Inn, Pomiegna says he'll work to provide more rooms as needed.
If we're all going to chip in, then we can get through it as best as we can as a community.
Danton Unger, CTV News, Winnipeg.
The province says it is working to get more hotels available. As of Thursday, the province is working with 68 hotels to house evacuees. The province says many people are also staying with friends or family, while others are staying outside Manitoba. The province is expanding its electronic ankle monitoring program, used to keep tabs on people out on bail.
Allows police to take immediate action when someone isn't following their release terms.
With all 100 ankle bracelets in use, the province plans to add up to 100 more at a cost of $1.2 million. The devices use GPS to allow law enforcement to track a person's location in real time. Alerts are issued if the person enters an area prohibited under their bail conditions or restrictions. There are also plans to introduce curfew monitoring software that uses video conferencing and biometric identification for those that do not require a traditional bracelet.
They can actually speak directly to the offender to say, hey, you're in violation, you're not where you're supposed to be, and you better go home, right? And so the ability to have that communication, that intervention before that person commits another offense is really valuable.
The program is available in Winnipeg, Brandon, Portage, Steinbach, and other cities, and will be expanding to the north. Plastic could eventually be made from seaweed.
Purpose behind this is to create something from, out of locally found materials like seaweed and create a plastics that can be used and naturally composed.
A startup in Nova Scotia is working on a new type of compostable plastic. Right now, they can make a soft and flexible film out of seaweed. That's led to a line of biodegradable plastic bags that will hit the market in a few months. The goal is to make a type of hard, rigid plastic that will open all kinds of new applications. The Canada Strong Pass just got a little stronger. The pass has been expanded to give children free admission to dozens of provincial and territorial museums and galleries. The pass already allows children to get into national museums for free. Other perks of the Canada Strong Pass include free admission to national parks, a discount on camping fees, and via rail discounts. The program runs until September 2nd. Here's a look at traffic now along Kenniston and Sterling Lyon. Looks like things are moving well over here. No issues to tell you about at this point.
Canada's benchmark stock index, the S&P TSX Composite, rose by almost a full percentage point yesterday and will begin today's trading day at 27,386 points. In the U.S., stocks also rose yesterday, and futures contracts on the three main U.S. stock indices were higher this morning. Netflix exceeded the expectations of analysts with its second quarter results released after markets closed yesterday. Netflix reported revenue of $11.1 billion U.S. in the quarter and profit of $3.1 billion. Netflix stock has almost doubled over the past year, and the company is now worth more than Disney, Comcast, and Warner Brothers Discovery combined. Finally, the Canadian dollar was trading at 72.9 cents U.S. this morning. The loonie has weakened versus the U.S. dollar during July, but it's still up 5.5% since early March of this year. From the BNN Bloomberg Newsroom in Toronto, I'm Paul Bagnall.
Let's go back now to Morris for the Manitoba Stampede, which is kicking off there this weekend. Good morning, Ainsley.
Rochelle, my only mistake in this morning wasn't bringing or buying a cowgirl hat for the morning, and I don't have the key to the general store. I know. They got big ones, he was telling me. Really, really big foam ones.
That would look good.
You're going to have to come to the Manitoba Stampede to find out. 6 decades. And actually, a part of that history is inside the general store. They have the original poster on one of the T-shirts. Coming up at 7:27, we're going to be talking to the fair director, because it's not just a rodeo and the chuck wagon and the livestock show and the shooting demos and the dog competitions and the music. There's also a fair for the kids. It takes tons of volunteers and tons of community organizations to make something like this possible. We're going to be chatting with Mayor Scott Crick coming up at 7:42 as well about the economic impact. Businesses beyond this completely full in order to accommodate this. The rodeo itself is sold out 2 years in a row, and they're expecting a third. They can fit well over 7,000 people inside the grandstands. I know when I went a couple years ago, it was packed like sardines too. So whether you're leaving and, petting a bunny in there, watching a shooting demonstration, or grabbing, something sweet, it's the perfect place to be this weekend.
Sounds good. Okay, thank you, Ainsley. There's so many places people want to be, and air quality is a big deal this weekend. How is it going to be?
Oh, Rochelle, yeah, put me on the spot. I wish I had better news, because that's the thing that's going to be deteriorating over the next couple of days. The temperatures themselves might even be ramping up. The conditions otherwise beautiful with a clearing sky. We are waking up to a few extra clouds this morning, but that's not likely to be the case through Saturday with all of the sunshine back again. But we could be seeing all of this smoke back again as well in just a matter of a day or two. Right now, winds out of the south have kind of kept it at bay. 13 degrees, we're starting to warm up, but the heavier clouds are lingering, and the winds out of the south on the lighter side right now, just 7 kilometers per hour. The pressure is rising. No, it's falling, and the humidity is sitting at 83%. The numbers, they're right there. I just have to read them. Anyway, all right, the extra clouds this morning, and the sun still able to get through them. So it will still be a very pleasant day, and maybe not a scorching day because of the extra cloud cover. We'll welcome that for those of you that don't love the fact that the temperatures are on the rise again, and they will continue to be on the rise throughout the coming weekend. But I mentioned the smoke that could be moving in as well. The areas of the smoke warnings is starting to spread now through central Manitoba. Yesterday it was just northern Manitoba, but overnight some west winds, and tomorrow some north winds, and we could notice that smoke seeping back in across southern Manitoba as well. 26 degrees is normal. We'll get 25 today, hit that seasonal temp tomorrow, and remaining warm through the weekend. Finally some rain, probably Sunday night and into Monday.
CTV Morning Live Weather brought to you by ABC Fire and Safety, your CO2 refill store.
Thank you, Terry. Let's check in now on our question of the day. We want to know, what was your favorite comic book as a kid? Our question of the day has moved from Twitter. So now we want you to text your answer along with your name to 10400. Make sure to follow the automated instructions so we can feature your response. At CTV Morning Live, we're all about celebrating your amazing pets, whether they're furry, feathered, or scaly. Your Pet of the Week submissions have been amazing, and we want to see even more. Whether it's dogs, cats, birds, or any other pet pals, send them our way. Drop your pet photos and a fun little story about them to Pet of the Week at ctv.ca, and then catch us every Thursday between 6 and 9 to find out if your pet is our Pet of the Week on CTV Morning Live. We're going to take a break here. We'll be back after this. Good morning. It's 7:15. A vacant and derelict hotel in South Point Douglas is up for sale. Mount Royal sits empty on Higgins Avenue near Main Street. It closed in 2022 after the provincial government found the building was a health hazard. The historic site first opened in 1904. The Manitoba Historical Society says it was a popular meeting spot for the city's lesbian community during the 1950s and 60s. MLS Winnipeg lists it for more than $1.1 million and says it has potential as an affordable living center or rooming house. The White House is taking new shots at Canada with just 2 weeks until the August 1st deadline to make a trade deal with the U.S.
The trade team continues to be very active in our conversations and discussions with Canada. The president himself has said, unfortunately, our neighbors to the north have been pretty difficult to deal with when it comes to matters on trade.
Last week, U.S. President Donald Trump threatened 35% tariffs on Canadian goods starting August the 1st. Canadian officials have said they're working extremely hard behind closed doors to make a trade deal with the U.S. The Prime Minister has also warned any deal is likely to include some tariffs. Meanwhile, Industry Minister Mélanie Joly says government intervention will be necessary for the Canadian steel industry's survival as American tariffs threaten it. In March, the U.S. placed a 25% tariff on Canadian steel and aluminum. They doubled that rate in June. Earlier this week, Ottawa added new measures to help the industry, announcing tariffs targeting steel originating in other countries in order to protect the Canadian market. Joly says she hopes it will, quote, calm down the anxiety in the steel sector. The White House has issued an update on the health of the U.S. president. Donald Trump has been diagnosed with a condition that causes leg swelling.
Bilateral lower extremity venous Doppler ultrasounds were performed and revealed chronic venous insufficiency, a benign and common condition, particularly in individuals over the age of 70. Importantly, there was no evidence of deep vein thrombosis or arterial disease.
Photos of Trump's swollen hands and legs circulated online earlier this week, spurring headlines and speculation that the president was hiding a health issue. The White House says the announcement was part of an effort to be transparent. No signs of heart failure or systemic illness were found. Here's a look at what's happening now on Donald Street. Things are moving well here. No issues to tell you about at this point. If you see problems out in traffic, though, please let us know.
CTV Morning Live Traffic brought to you by Mr. Lube Plus Tires. No appointment needed.
It's time now for some entertainment news. Connie Francis, beloved pop star from the 1950s and 60s and the first woman to top the Billboard charts, has died.
Pretty little baby, you say that maybe you'll be thinking of me.
She was known for her hits including Pretty Little Baby, which saw a resurgence in popularity this year on TikTok, exposing her to a new generation, something she called a blessing. Her life would be marked by tragedy, including surviving a brutal assault and mourning her brother's murder. Francis was recently hospitalized for pain. She was 87 years old. A late-night institution is coming to an end.
Well, I want to let you know something that I found out just last night. Next year will be our last season. The network will be ending The Late Show in May.
Stephen Colbert broke the news last night that his show will be canceled by May next year. He wasn't talking about his turn as host. He said the Late Show franchise is coming to an end. CBS calls the move a purely financial decision. It comes just weeks after its parent company, Paramount, settled a lawsuit with President Donald Trump over a 60 Minutes election interview with Kamala Harris. Stephen Colbert took over The Late Show from David Letterman, who moved to CBS in 1993. Now here's a look at the teaser trailer for Season 2 of Love is Blind UK.
If I'm this happy through a wall, it can only get better from here.
Emma and Matt Willis return as hosts for the second season. The pods reopen August 13th. This film is all about human nature.
We've done it, Mabel. After years of work, this revolutionary technology gives us unprecedented access to the animal world.
What if you could talk to animals and understand what they're saying? This is the teaser trailer for Pixar's latest movie, Hoppers. In the film, scientists discover how to hop human consciousness into lifelike robotic animals. It hits theaters March 6th next year. Kick off your weekend with Celebrity Jeopardy at 7, followed by a double dose of Fear Thy Neighbor. Then E-Talk wraps up the night at 10:30. It's all right here on CTV. I'm going to the Bomber game tonight. It's going to be a beautiful night, Terry.
You're right about that. It's going to be like kind of perfect football weather, or at least, I don't know, I've never played football. It's going to be great watching weather, great to be a spectator. We're looking now through the Bathfitter Live Eye. Bathfitter, your bath and shower experts for more than 40 years. A little bit hazy out there. I think that's just where our camera is situated when it's higher up in the sky. I've been talking about the south winds and how clean and fresh it actually seems to smell out there this morning. But not everybody is so lucky. I'll show you the warnings map in just a second. We're right back to seasonal. It took an hour, but we got there. 13 degrees, a normal low. Many places are still just a little bit below that. A slightly cooler than normal start to your morning through much of southern Manitoba. And then there's northern Manitoba, who's actually had a milder start to the day than you might typically expect, with some mid-teens through that more northern stretch. Churchill, the exception to the double digits across the north, 9 degrees for you. And Churchill will actually stay on the cooler side, topping out at about 12 degrees, whereas all of the rest of northern and southern Manitoba, low 20s or mid 20s here in the south. Now, this area of purple, it's expanding. That is the smoke warning. And you can see it's now including much of central Manitoba and even pushing across that eastern border as well. There's also still the advisory in effect further east yet. And with winds shifting overnight and through tomorrow, we could notice that smoke moving in here in the south as well. Right now, all across the south, the only thing we're seeing is some very light and scattered precipitation, and it's really rolling right along that very southern border. As we watch the temperatures rise today, 20 degrees by noontime across northern Manitoba. That's where we're going to be as well by midday, but doing a little bit better into the afternoon, getting closer to those seasonal values. 26 degrees normal for this time of year. We'll probably top out at 25 and low to mid 20s across much of northern Manitoba. Tomorrow, I mentioned the hazy, smoky conditions, and then some heavier clouds and some precipitation. Finally, Sunday night, that'll likely continue into Monday. The canola is looking gorgeous, especially that beautiful contrast against the blue sky. Taken in Pleasant Valley, it certainly does look like a pleasant view. Thanks to Nancy, and keep the pictures coming to Winnipeg Weather at ctv.ca.
Thank you, Terry. It's time now for this week's Adorable Adoptables. We begin with Chloe, a sweet senior with resting grump face and a heart of gold. She's shy at first, but give her time and she'll melt into your lap. Loves calm vibes, cozy naps, and keeping an eye on everything. Next up is Fluffy. This 1.5-year-old stunner is rocking his leash, walks, and winning hearts on the daily. With a bit of guidance, Fluffy's ready to be your loyal BFF. And meet Pumpernickel, aka Nikki. This 2.5-year-old beauty is equal parts sweet, spicy, and sporty. She's trained with the Sea Bears, and once she warms up to you, she's all heart and loyalty. If you think you can offer any of these animals a good home, just head down to the Winnipeg Humane Society or give them a call. The number is on your screen. It's that time of year, and CTV and Chicken Chef want you to share how you're soaking up this season. From concerts to getaways, whatever makes your Manitoba summer magical, we want to see it. We've seen some amazing moments so far, and now it's your turn to shine. Upload a photo of your summer fun for a chance to win the $5,000 grand prize, plus daily draws for $50,000 or $50 Chicken Chef gift certificates, not $50,000, $50, and a gorgeous patio set from Windeck to elevate your outdoor chill zone. So what are you waiting for? Grab your phone and share your summer with us today.
Hey there, Lindsay Hamilton in the Sports Center newsroom with your must-see moment from Thursday. We are heading to the Open Championship at Royal Portrush. Matt Fitzpatrick, barely visible in the far left in white. Look at this. On the second, par 3 16th, jars it right in the cup. Fitzpatrick finishing tied for the lead after the first round, in large part thanks to an incredible incredible hole out from the rough for a birdie. Oh, that's pretty. Feels like a shot that good deserves more than that. So we've awarded it and Fitzpatrick your must-see moments. Meanwhile, tonight on TSN, Week 7 in the CFL continues with the Stamps facing the Blue Bombers. Coverage begins 7 p.m. Central Time on TSN. That's all for now from the Sports Center newsroom. Enjoy the football and have a terrific day.
TSN Must-See Moments brought to you by Super Blinds and Draperies, your Hunter Douglas shade provider for over 40 years.
Coming up, we are live in Morris for the Manitoba Stampede. This is a pro rodeo tour. We're going to have more details from Ainsley McPhail after this. Stay with us. Winnipeg's favorite cultural celebration is back, and we want you to go. Folklorama returns from August 3rd to the 16th, and we're giving you the chance to win a pair of 2 tour visas, giving you access to explore all 44 pavilions. To enter, head to the contest page on our website, ctvnewswinnipeg.ca, and enter the clue word, world. Good luck. Let's go back now to Ainsley McPhail, who's live this morning at the Manitoba Stampede in Morris. There's already lots of action going on there. Good morning.
Well, there's going to be thousands more right now. It's just kind of setting up, and I'm going to introduce you to Matt Hoffman right now because he is the director of a lot of the activities that are happening here. There was one of which that's brand new that you were going to explain to me. Very simply, because I had never heard of it. So for us city folks who have not heard of an activity like this, what is it?
So it's called the Manitoba Team Penny Association. They're the ones who are bringing this event out for us. And they used to come here. They've been away for a few years, so we're happy to welcome them back now. So what it is you have a herd of 30 cattle, and they're all numbered, numbers 1 to 10, and they'll take the cattle, divide them up, and the cowboys will come in, and they'll split away the 3 cattle that are selected for them by number, and split them from the herd, drive them to the end of the arena, and then there's a pen down there that they have to pen them in, and that's a timed event, so the fastest time wins.
I'm just going to have to come to visualize. Perhaps I'm a visual learner. Lots of other events, though, so some great livestock competitions. Give us the lowdown.
So we also have a Gymkhana event happening. It started last night and it's finishing up this morning. We're having the Manitoba Stock Dog Association here. They're doing their finals this year during the Manitoba Stampede, so that's happening Saturday and Sunday, and that's using border collies to herd sheep around an obstacle. We have a farm chore event with heavy horses, so we have 5 or 6 teams of heavy horses coming in, and they're going to be doing your traditional farm chore events, so pulling a wagon through an obstacle course, backing up to a loading gate, and just different activities with the heavy horses. We have the Manitoba Mounted Shooting Association coming in, and they're going to be doing shooting events on horseback with handguns and rifles, so that's a very fun event to watch.
We're almost out of time. Why should people come? Anything else you want people to know?
All these events at the fair this year, they're all absolutely free to come and watch. You just have to come onto the grounds here, come and watch them. You only need the tickets for the rodeo this year, so the fair events are all free.
Thank you so much. And that one might sell out too, so if you want your rodeo tickets, get them now. Back to you. We're chatting at 7:42 with the mayor.
Okay, thank you, Ainsley. Yesterday, Terry, I went for a nice bike ride with my family. It was a perfect evening for that.
Light winds,
yes.
Yeah. Bike riding is so ideal when the winds are on the lighter side, or at least on your back if they're not going to be on the lighter side. We do have those light winds expected once again today, and even overnight and through tomorrow, although they will be shifting and maybe not for the better. 13 degrees is where we're sitting right now with a few extra clouds to kick off your morning. Those winds are light, 7 clicks right now out of the south-southeast. The pressure is falling and the humidity sitting at 83%. South winds have kept the air a little bit cleaner through the most southern part of the province, but that smoke warning has now moved into parts of central Manitoba, so this area does seem to be growing, and a lot of that has to do with winds. You remember it was just smoke in parts of Saskatchewan, and then it moved into northern Manitoba, and now it's starting to move into central Manitoba and even pushing further east yet. Well, we too can expect those winds shifting out of the west overnight and out of the north for tomorrow, so we might find our situation condition deteriorating through the weekend. Right now, a little bit of precipitation in that very southwestern corner and the extra clouds. For northern Manitoba, clearer, brighter, smokier, sure, but a little more sunshine. And then northern Manitoba could get some precipitation for later on today. We're just going to enjoy the sunshine, at least bits of it, through the clouds. 25 degrees is where we're headed today, and those winds through the day out of the south, but then they'll be shifting out of the west overnight. Just a few clouds as we drop down to 12, and then north winds for tomorrow. And as a result, we might notice not just the sunshine, but the smokier conditions. Seasonal high of 26, though. We've been below seasonal all throughout this week, and now this weekend back up to what you would expect this time of year with some heavier clouds Sunday, some rain by Sunday night, and we will welcome that to continue into Monday to kick things off next week.
Thanks, Terry. Provincial officials say wildfire activity is picking up again in Manitoba following days of cooler weather and rain, and another northern community is now evacuating its residents. 2 planes are evacuating people from the communities of Island Lake and Stevenson Island. Officials say 10 people will be leaving, while 5 are staying behind to help protect important infrastructure, such as the airport and water treatment plant. They are located directly south of Garden Hill First Nation, which was evacuated last week. There are now close to 13,000 people out of their homes due to wildfires. And officials addressed some dramatic video circulating online showing a wall of flames near the community of Split Lake. Kristen Hayward with Manitoba Wildfire Service says they decided to let that fire burn during favorable conditions rather than risk embers blowing into the community at a later time and starting new fires.
So we continue to have staff crews in the community with fire suppression equipment so that if there is any spot fires that come over from that area, they're able to address them immediately. They have been continuing to patrol for hot spots in the community for some time just to make sure that nothing can flare up and get away on us.
Hayward says at the moment there are no new areas of concern. However, some electricity infrastructure has been damaged in the evacuated community of Lynn Lake. And in Thompson, a city Facebook post from last night says although there was rain in the area Thursday, it's not clear whether any fell on fires to the north. There was lightning southeast of Thompson, but it could take up to 5 days for aerial scanning to determine whether it started any new fires. There are now 118 active wildfires in Manitoba, 5 fewer than Wednesday. Winnipeg's mayor is expressing frustration over the speed at which the province's Your Way Home strategy is moving forward.
The public is frustrated. I'm frustrated. I don't see our numbers right now in the encampments going down yet.
Mayor Scott Gillingham says he believes the province's plan is heading in the right direction, but he says it isn't moving fast enough to make supportive housing units available to get people out of encampments. His comments come as a motion before City Council seeks to prevent encampments from being set up in some public spaces frequently used by families, such as playgrounds, spray pads, and community centers. Gillingham says he's willing to work with councillors to look at the matter.
I think we would be wise to look at what's happened in other cities and what's worked, what hasn't worked, what has been legally challenged.
Gillingham says the city is also working with the province and outreach partners to find places where encampments can be limited. Some First Nations leaders say they're cautiously optimistic after a summit with Prime Minister Mark Carney Thursday, but they raise concerns over Ottawa's controversial new law to fast-track some national projects.
I'm glad that the Prime Minister and Cabinet Minister stayed all day, but still, I think the way the legislation is crafted, there's, as we heard today from many chiefs, there's still a lot of trust issues.
Prime Minister Carney opened the summit saying he stood by his law, but is also ready to listen. Many chiefs are upset over Bill C-5, which gives Cabinet power to speed up projects like pipelines, saying their rights weren't respected when Ottawa passed the bill last month. Views on what Prime Minister Carney had to say are varied, but most agree his actions are what matters most. The government has said it's committed to further engagement with Indigenous communities, but say it plans to get the new major projects approval office up and running by Labor Day. A Canadian has become the most expensive player in women's soccer history.
I just felt like now is the right time, and it's always been my dream to play for a club like Arsenal as well, and they're doing so well.
Olivia Smith set a new benchmark with a reported £1 million transfer from Liverpool to Arsenal in the UK. That's more than $1.8 million Canadian. The previous record was £900,000. The 20-year-old has agreed to a 4-year deal. Back in 2019, she became the youngest woman ever to play for Canada at just 15 years old. Here's a look now at what's going on the St. James Bridge. It looks like traffic volumes are picking up over here, but overall moving well. No issues to tell you about. Let's take a look now at gas prices. The Canadian average is $1.37, while the provincial and Winnipeg averages are $1.30. The lowest price in the city is $1.29. All this info is on gasbuddy.com.
Price at the Pump brought to you by kidneycard.ca. Get a free tow and a tax receipt for value of your car.
Right now, we're sitting under 13 degrees and mainly cloudy skies. More CTV Morning Live is on the way.
CTV Morning Live is brought to you by Robin's Donuts, your favorite stop.
Here's a look outside. It's 13 degrees with a few extra clouds hanging over us for now. We've got south-southeast winds, 7 kilometers per hour. The pressure falling and the humidity sitting at 83%. Those south winds have kept the air a little bit cleaner here in the most southern part of the province. But the situation is tanking a little bit through northern Manitoba, where those warnings were yesterday. They're now being pushed, I guess, or issued through central Manitoba, even a little bit further east. And then, of course, there's the slightly downgraded statement or advisory, but it all has to do with the smoke throughout the province. Now, we could also notice that situation deteriorating, but probably not through the day today. It's more so overnight and through tomorrow here in southern Manitoba. Currently, you can see just a little bit of that precipitation rolling just along that very most southern border, the few extra clouds that we're seeing. Less so through northern Manitoba. While it might be a little bit brighter for now, you have a chance of some precipitation still to come. And slightly cooler temperatures up in Churchill. 12 degrees is where you'll probably top out today versus the high teens or low 20s, fairly seasonal temps expected through the rest of northern Manitoba. Now, Island Lake and much of central Manitoba has the possibility of some scattered precipitation, showers, maybe some thunderstorms that'll be passing through today. And then also through kind of central Manitoba, Swan River, Dauphin, over on the eastern side and Barons River, further into the south, more likely to see bits of sunshine at least. I know we're seeing some heavier clouds right now, but there will be pockets of sunshine through the day. So the most southern border could get a bit of a soaking. Central Manitoba, bit of a soaking. Again, we all need it. We will welcome it wherever it comes. For us, our chance with the rain probably won't be until the other side of the weekend, or at least when we're wrapping up the weekend on Sunday, because Sunday evening we might begin to see that precipitation after cloudier conditions through the day. Saturday, though, could be sunny, but also a little bit smoky. West winds overnight will shift out of the north for tomorrow, and we could be noticing some of that smoke being drawn back in with seasonal temperatures expected.
Thank you, Terry. Let's go back now to Morris, where our Ainsley McPhail is live this morning at the Manitoba Stampede. The event has such a huge economic impact on the community. Good morning.
Good morning, Rochelle. And every year, thousands come here. Mayor Scott Crick joins me now to explain some of the preparation that goes into it as well. I'm sure well in advance, a whole year.
Well, good morning, Ainsley. Nice to see you today. And yes, the amount of work that goes into this event every year is just incredible. As someone who formerly sat on the board and as the mayor of the community, I know the people who are involved with the board and all of the volunteers every year put in literally thousands of hours making sure this is the best event it can be.
And when it comes to economic impact, too, the businesses really see that revenue boost as well.
Oh, and absolutely. And it's good for not just also short-term, but long-term. So in the short term, having an extra 20 to 30 to 40,000 people in our community every year is fantastic for a weekend. But additionally, we get the great benefit of many people get to come experience our community, and they determine this may be a place they'd like to have a business or a place they'd like to live, and we're always happy to see them.
Not only that, but that doesn't come with challenges too, having a large-scale event, the infrastructure that goes into it, and perhaps people at home might not be thinking, hey, to keep something like this sustainable and running for another 60 years, what goes into that?
Well, it's very interesting because one of the things that you certainly learn in municipal politics is that it's not what it costs to build something, it's what it costs to maintain it. And I know for Valley Ag, they've done a fantastic job, the entire organization, navigating through some real infrastructure challenges over the last number of years. There's repairs needed to the grandstand, there's extensive electrical renovation done, but the whole board put a huge amount of work into it and did a fantastic job.
It's also fun. What's your favorite part?
Well, considering this is a morning show, I should probably be cautious in saying what my favorite part is. But personally, my favorite part is just getting to see all the people come to the community, getting to see the community pull together, and getting to see how special an event this is for people who have come here and volunteered for decades.
Thank you so much. Manitoba's Stampede happening all weekend long. Come on down to Morris.
Thank you, Ainsley. Consider it a Canadian version of the X-Files. The country's top science advisor is calling on the government to create a new body to track and investigate UFO reports. Here's CTV's John Benavali-Rao.
Look at it, it's behind the tree. What is that?
To get an idea of just how common UFO sightings are, for fun, we decided to take to a Toronto sidewalk with a sign and a simple question. And within minutes, people started telling us their stories.
There was this light above me. It was really bright. I mean, at first I thought it'd be a plane, but it seemed to be like a white light, and it was moving really, really fast. We looked into the field, and there was this big glowing orb. It vanished. It didn't go up, it didn't go any direction, it just kind of disappeared.
Witnesses often don't know who to contact to report a sighting, but a new report from the Office of Canada's Chief Science Advisor is recommending the process be simplified.
The main big sort of point from this is that it should be very clear to everybody where these things get reported.
For years, there's been plenty of talk about videos shot by U.S. military pilots. My gosh. Filming what used to be called UFOs and now known as unidentified aerial phenomena, or UAPs. The Sky Canada report is recommending a single government service be established, which would collect, study, and share information about sightings, in part to combat misinformation and conspiracy theories.
And there's no question that the vast majority are explainable as stars, planes, planets, and what have you. But there's a small fraction every year that don't seem to have an easy explanation.
Other recommendations include making a bilingual reporting app to help people report sightings more easily. The Sky Canada report also suggests Transport Canada should encourage pilots, cabin crews, and air traffic controllers to report UAP sightings without fear of stigmatization.
It definitely was a flying object of some sort. I mean, I'm not quite sure if it was necessarily alien.
Because it turns out when you ask this question, it doesn't take long to get a yes. John Benavali-Rao, CTV News, Toronto.
It's time now for part one of Let's Celebrate. Let's See who's having a celebration today. Happy 9th birthday, Ariana, with love from Mom and Dad, Nanny and Papa, and your sisters. Happy 53rd birthday, Todd, from Tammy, Anna, and friends and family. Happy birthday, Delaney in Edmonton. Love from all your family and friends in Manitoba. Happy 31st birthday to Cassidy. Love Mom, Les, and family. Happy 50th anniversary to Wayne and Sharon from family and friends. Happy birthday, Jess, with love from the Beautiful People Club. Happy 5th birthday, Bon Bon. Love from family and friends. Happy 3rd birthday, Stella. Love Mom, Dad, Brother Hunter, and Sister Scarlett. Stay tuned to CTV Morning Live as part 2 of Let's Celebrate. We'll be back just before 8 a.m.
CTV Morning Live Weather brought to you by Canadian Footwear, where size does matter.
All right, it's a little bit cool. Not cool, I shouldn't say that. I'm very comfortable out here this morning, but I'm noticing a coolness to the air right now because that sun, which was breaking through the clouds earlier this morning, is now completely obstructed by the clouds, which have stacked up over the course of the morning. And so without that sunshine, it's kind of like standing in a shadow. There is a coolness to it, although seasonal. 13 degrees is where we're currently sitting. And the breeze is light, just 7 clicks out of the south-southeast. The pressure is falling. Humidity is sitting at 83%. If you like that cooler weather, it feels fresh and clean out here right now. We've had winds out of the south, and we've been really lucking out here across southern Manitoba with that cleaner air, which is not the case at all through northern and now central Manitoba. That area where the smoke warnings were issued yesterday has now grown, and much of central Manitoba included in that heavy smoke warning. Northwestern Ontario, the advisory has been issued for much of that region as well, and we could notice that condition moving in overnight and through tomorrow.
Thank you, Terry. This is the time of year when you should look up at the sky when it's dark outside. The annual Perseids meteor showers are back and happening right now. Joining us now from the planetarium is the astronomer Scott Young. Good morning, Scott.
Good morning, Rochelle.
Thanks for joining us. Now tell us what's happening right now in our skies at night.
Well, there's always lots of things going on in the sky that we often don't notice. Right now, we're getting into the very beginning of the annual Perseid meteor shower. It's an annual event that sort of starts in mid-July, and we start seeing more and more meteors, which are also known as falling stars or shooting stars, each night until it builds up to its peak right around August 11th and 12th. And so we're just at the very beginning, so now's a great time to start getting out and getting used to what's up in the sky so that you can see the meteors as they come into our atmosphere.
So what is happening exactly where they come back every year?
Well, so space is full of dust, and each little piece of dust or grain of sand that's out there, if it crashes into the Earth or the Earth crashes into it, there's a big collision, and obviously the Earth wins in that collision, but the little piece of dust just burns up in the atmosphere just from the friction of passing through it. And we see that energy turn into light, and we see a shooting star for a second or two. Well, there are a few places in the solar system that have lots of dust that have collected, kind of like the place under your fridge or deep behind the couch or whatever, basically planetary dust bunnies. And the Earth goes through one of these planetary dust bunnies right around August 11th and 12th every year. So as we go in our orbit, it goes basically at the same time each year. And not only is it predictable, but there's a lot more dust. So instead of, 1 or 2 shooting stars an hour, you might see 10 or 15 or 30 or 50.
Wow. And these are they really obvious shooting stars, or are some slower than others? Like, what should you look for?
Yeah, well, usually a shooting star lasts, 1 or 2 seconds and is very, very quick. So if you blink, you miss it. If you're looking down at your phone, you'll miss it. There's also some that are brighter than others. So if you really want the best view, you don't want to be here in the middle of the city with all the lights. You'd like to be outside the city, just even on the outskirts in a park or someplace like that. If you're off camping or at the cabin where the light pollution is greatly reduced, you get a great view, and you'll see a lot more meteors that way, because there's a few bright ones and there's more medium size or medium brightness ones, but there's a lot more fainter ones. So you'll really see a lot, probably 3 times as many meteors if you're outside the city.
So what's a good time to go out there and check this out for yourself?
Well, that's the downside. There are a couple of schools of thought. If you go out early in the evening, you will not see very many meteors, but the ones you do see should be really, really nice. So especially around August 11th, a few days on either side of that, the early evening is an option. The best option is actually around 2 or 3 in the morning, which I know is late for some of us or early for some of us, but that's geometrically when the most meteors are sort of visible from our part of the world. So it's a little bit of a late night thing, but hopefully that can work out for people.
And you could actually do this, have fun with your kids, and try to see who sees the most of them, maybe.
Oh yeah, it's a great thing to do as a group, and if someone will see one that someone else misses, and you can keep counting and stuff like that. My kids are a little competitive, so they're always trying to see who sees the most.
Yeah, you know what, Scott, I do the exact same thing. And any other things going on in the sky right now that we should be aware of?
There's a bunch of stuff going on in the morning sky. People are getting up before the sun. Venus is popping up in the morning sky, super, super bright. We've also been hearing a lot about what are called noctilucent clouds. These are actually clouds of meteor dust that we can only see sort of around this time of the year. They're usually off in the north, and they look like really eerie white-blue clouds that are very wispy. Mm-hmm. They don't look like normal clouds. And then coming up on just this weekend, tomorrow morning, actually, the moon is going to be passing through the Pleiades star cluster, which is a beautiful little thing to see in binoculars. And you can actually see the moon slowly over the course of a few hours move across that. I've got an article all about that on our Manitoba Museum webpage.
And of course, we'll have a link on our website. Thank you, Scott. We are live at the Manitoba Stampede in Morris this morning with our Ainsley McPhail. Stay with us for details on what's happening there. It's time for part 2 of Let's Celebrate. Let's See is having a celebration today. Happy 4th birthday, Rowan. Love Mom, Dad, Scarlett, Nana, Grandma, and Grandpa. Happy 17th anniversary, Jeff, with love from your wife, Karen. Happy birthday, Carrie, from the 3 Amigos. Happy 9th birthday, Charlie. Love Mom, Dad, Nana, Papa, and Auntie Debbie. Happy 25th anniversary, Nicole, with love and wishes for 25 more years from Derek. Happy 6th birthday, Archie. Love Mom, Dad, and Gabby. And a happy 77th birthday to Irene. Love and best wishes from family and friends. If someone you care about is having a birthday, anniversary, retirement, or graduation, let's celebrate. To submit your celebration, visit our website, ctvnewswinnipeg.ca, and fill out the form at least 2 days in advance. It'll also enter you into our monthly contest for a chance to win a $100 gift certificate to Party Stuff.
Let's celebrate. Brought to you by Party Stuff. 3 Winnipeg locations and at partystuff.ca.
Good morning. It's 8 o'clock on your Friday. Thank you so much for staying with us here on CTV Morning Live. At 8:15, we're going to find out how comics are not just for kids anymore. They're also being used to talk about some very difficult stories. So we're going to break that down for you at that time. And then at 8:27, we're going to get some reaction from MKO this morning to the summit that happened with Prime Minister Mark Carney about Bill C-5. But first, your headlines. The Prairie Green search officially ends. Where will the province look next to locate remains of a serial killer's victim? Making more room at the inns. Why matching evacuees with more comfortable accommodations can be a slow process. And this feisty feline's year-long slim down means his social media clout is only getting bigger. Bringing in Terry now. The weekend is here. You're stuck with the cat.
I was shocked when I saw the cat. I'm happy to see that that cat is living a better life right now.
He looks good.
Yeah, he does.
And so does the weekend.
You're right, at least to kick things off. We've got some heavier clouds out there, but I'm not minding it at all. The cooler temperatures are actually quite pleasant at 13 degrees. And I shouldn't say cooler. 13 is, in fact, a normal low for this time of year. It's just the heavier clouds blocking the sun make it have that kind of coolish effect. But again, not mad about it. South-southeast winds are light to 7 kilometers per hour. The pressure falling and the humidity sitting at 83%. And for those of you that don't love the mid-20s, which, by the way, is where we're headed today, get outside, capitalize on this morning cool weather with the extra clouds and the cleaner air. You can see across southern Manitoba, we are not included in any of the smoke warnings, and that's not the case through northern Manitoba, where it's been for the last couple of days, but now central Manitoba as that area is growing, and off to the east as well. And then, of course, there's the advisory, just a slightly downgraded version of the purple. But smoke is going to be an issue all through northern and central Manitoba, and perhaps eventually through southern Manitoba, as we're expecting the winds to be shifting through the weekend. A little bit of precipitation right along that very southern border, but more could show up through parts of central Manitoba. The chance of showers, maybe some thunderstorms in areas through kind of north and central Manitoba, clearing out again. Now, Sunday we'll see clouds moving in. With the clouds, another round of precipitation. This one will be reaching southwestern Manitoba first, but by Sunday night into the southeast and overnight into Monday, the rain will continue, and we will welcome that. We need it. It's the winds that are going to likely draw in some of that smoke as they shift out of the west overnight and through the north tomorrow. So sunny, seasonal, but a little bit hazy. Bob, he's young at heart and wanted to share his art with us. And honestly, I welcome anyone to share their art with us. Draw, color, paint. If you've got a project on the go that maybe you're sculpting or potterying, whatever. Email us, winnipegweather@ctv.ca.
Thank you, Terry. Manitoba has officially ended its search of a landfill for the remains of 2 murdered First Nations women. The remains of Morgan Harris and Mercedes Myron were found at Prairie Green Landfill in February. Private ceremonies were held with their families, this in honor of the 2 women. The province plans to search the Brady Road landfill next for the remains of murdered Indigenous woman Ashley Shingoose. That search is expected to start soon. The province is working to find hotel spaces to house as many wildfire evacuees as possible. Those waiting for the chance to move from shelter cot to comfortable bed are being asked to be patient as the process takes time.
They're going through a very hard time in their life, and having better accommodations, having their own room, I think that helps at least a little bit.
Andrew Pomirny manages the 4 Crowns in a hotel on McPhillip Street. He says he set aside about a dozen rooms like this one when the province declared a state of emergency last week. He was notified yesterday that the rooms will be occupied by evacuees. The province says as of Wednesday, 6,450 evacuees have been placed in hotels. Another 1,200 are still sleeping on cots in congregate shelters like the one set up here at the RBC Convention Centre. Assistant Deputy Minister Christine Stevens says the province tries to match hotel availability with the supports evacuees need, like accessible rooms, daily meals, and proximity to medical appointments and community.
Things matter a lot to us, and that means that sometimes it's complex matching the right fit to the hotel availability that we have.
As of Thursday, the province is working with 68 hotels to house evacuees. The province says many people are also staying with friends or family. Mounties are asking for your help after a Tesla Cybertruck was vandalized at the Winnipeg Folk Festival. RCMP say they got a report Monday that a Tesla Cybertruck, like the one on your screen here, had profanity written on it while parked at the event. An RCMP spokesperson was unable to share what the two words were, only that it was not political or racial in nature. The police service is releasing these images in hopes of identifying the suspect. Those with information are being asked to call Oakbank RCMP or Crime Stoppers. This cat might need to shed his first name.
When we got Biggie, we got so many shelters that reached out saying, do you know any rescues or places that we can send these severely, like extremely overweight cats? And there was nothing in the world I could find. And then I thought, why not try to create something like this?
You may remember this social media star, Biggie Smalls. The viral cat from Ottawa has lost 16 pounds since Christine Seguin first rescued him last year. He was 4 times the average size of a cat. Biggie has become the inspiration for a rescue and overweight cat sanctuary. The Big House is a not-for-profit animal rescue, and the funding comes from donations. The sanctuary currently houses 5 cats. Here's a look now at what's going on. A little weird U-turn there on Osborne Street, as you can see, but things are moving well overall. No issues to tell you about at this point.
Traffic is brought to you by Curtis Carpets, Manitoba's flooring experts.
Let's go back now to Morris, where Ainsley McPhail is live this morning for the Manitoba Stampede, which is on right now, and it wouldn't be possible without scores of volunteers. Good morning.
Rochelle, our show is awesome. We go from an overweight cat to a U-turn in traffic all the way to Morris. This is just a real adventure this morning. Thank you so much for having us today. I'm joined with Kaylin. Rochelle mentioned the volunteers, well over 100 of them.
Closer to the 150 mark.
Wow. So what are some of the volunteer opportunities? We're particularly standing in the ticket booth because I'm sure that that's part of the whole process. What does it look like?
The ticket booth is probably one of the main areas that we see the most people wanting to volunteer in, but we've got parking, we have the gates. People just love welcoming everybody in. It's just volunteers are just great part of our organization.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And how early does all of this start? Because it really can't happen without you guys.
No, we've started planning 2026 already. Oh, wow. Our volunteers, we get the schedule going at probably around 10 o'clock in the morning. We'll start getting people on the grounds for their shifts. But yeah, with directors, we've been here every night for the last 2-3 weeks already.
I'm trying to remember how many people the mayor said actually lived in Morris, and then I'm trying to mathematically think of how 150 people fit into that landscape. But really, I mean, that's a huge percentage is what I'm trying to say. Does it really feel like a community effort to put this on for the broader Manitoba community?
It does. It definitely does. With seeing about 40,000 people come through here in the weekend and only 2,000 actually living in Morris, and then the 150 people that do volunteer, it is pretty great to see.
I almost said 2,000, but I didn't want to correct myself. Going, is that low? Okay, we're almost out of time, but some of your earliest memories are here at the Stampede. It must be like really sweet to do that now.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I grew up in a stroller here. I've never missed a Stampede. Just seeing the Stampede evolve is so heartwarming.
Thank you so much. We're talking rodeo at 8:38. Some of those main events. Don't go anywhere.
That sounds good. Thank you, Ainsley. Many Canadians are about to feel a massive financial squeeze when it comes to their biggest expense, their mortgage. CTV's Heather Wright takes a look at just how bad things could get when they go up for renewal.
More than 1 million mortgages are set to renew this year, with many borrowers facing interest rates much higher than what they have been paying.
The lowest quote we received was 3.86, and the highest was 4.49.
That's a big jump from the 1.9% Sean Hannafin and his wife had been paying on their mortgage.
But we're also lucky enough that we're towards the end of our mortgage, where the principal's a little lower. I can't imagine being a new homeowner and trying to afford like a $750,000 to $1 million mortgage right now. It'd be quite difficult.
According to the Bank of Canada, nearly 60% of Canadian mortgage holders will renew their loans this year and next. As a result, many will be facing significantly higher monthly payments. And while the central bank has made a number of rate cuts over the last year, with the policy rate holding at 2.75%, it is still much higher than rates 4 or 5 years ago.
This is a hike, and the underlying theme is always the same. Everything else has gone up. And at the end of the day, that's what makes this continuous increase just that much more painful.
The sharp increase in interest rates has led many Canadians to explore alternative lenders to try and get the best rate possible. Experts do recommend shopping around, but also urge consumers to read the fine print.
You should always ask yourself, if this alt lender is making me a much better offer than one of the main banks, what's the catch? There will be a catch. Maybe you can entertain that catch. Maybe you're willing to take that trade-off, but you should always be aware that there is a trade-off.
With inflation edging up slightly in June, many economists expect the Bank of Canada will hold its key lending rate at its next announcement July 30th. There will be, however, 3 more opportunities for a rate cut by the end of the year. Heather Wright, CTV News, Toronto.
Looking through the Bathfitter Live Eye now. Bathfitter, your bath and shower experts for more than 40 years. All right, it's warming up, but ever so slightly. The heavier clouds have kind of stopped the big jumps that we would typically see in these morning hours. For example, if the sun is out shining bright, we'll often see 3-4 degree gains from hour to hour over the course of the morning. We were at 13 last hour. We're now at 14 as those heavier clouds are hanging around. And similar temperatures all through southern Manitoba. Just now into those double digits or the low teens. 13 degrees just for a reference point. That's a seasonal low. We were just below that this morning. Our coolest temp here in Winnipeg was 12. Northern Manitoba making some gains already in Thompson. I think you were at 6 degrees earlier this morning. You're now at 14. Clearer conditions, but regarding the clouds, not regarding the smoke. Unfortunately, the smoke area has increased and now includes much of central Manitoba and even has pushed across that eastern border into parts of northwestern Ontario. If it's not the straight up warning, it's the advisory or the statement regarding the smoke. And we too could notice that seeping in or intensifying somewhat over the weekend with the winds shifting. A little bit of precipitation moving right along that southern border. Also central Manitoba could see some scattered showers or possible thunderstorms for today. Here's your noontime temperatures just around the 20 degree mark. That'll be the case across the province. Hitting up into the mid 20s by later on this afternoon or low 20s across northern Manitoba. Getting a little bit warmer than it's been and warmer yet back to seasonal tomorrow. But winds out of the west and then out of the north for tomorrow will draw some of that smoke in, so it will be sunny and seasonal, but perhaps a little hazy too. We're taking a break. We'll be back with more CTV Morning Live.
Good morning. In Alberta, measles cases continue to rise, and babies too young to be immunized are especially vulnerable. A harsh reality for one mother when her daughter contracted the virus. CTV's Kathy Lee finds out how the little girl's life is now changed forever.
The calm of nature's sanctuary, a stark contrast to the storm this family has endured. 9-month-old Kimmy, better and happier now, but 5 months ago, fighting for her life.
You honestly don't expect
for your 4-month-old to be diagnosed with something that was essentially eradicated.
The infant contracted measles after a routine vaccination appointment at a hospital near Edmonton, but still too young to get immunized for that particular virus. 5 days of fever over 100, and then the spots exploded all over her tiny body.
She didn't really eat, because her throat was so swollen. It was scary.
The measles outbreak continues to spread in Alberta, the second province after Ontario to have more confirmed cases compared to the United States.
What we're seeing in this current outbreak is people under 15, 16. A majority of those are in the younger age, and we see more complications in the younger age, less than 5 years of age.
And some complications can linger. Kimmy may have recovered, but her immune system weak from the virus, making it difficult to fight off other illnesses. But those aren't the only challenges.
She can potentially lose her hearing. The side effects from the disease can show up, 7 to 10 years down the road from now. Like her brain can swell randomly and she can die.
Which means Kimmy isn't in the clear yet.
This is what happens when you don't vaccinate.
A mother's stern message to hopefully prevent more families from suffering their plight while they brave the uncertainty of their long journey. Kathy Lee, CTV News, Bow Valley Provincial Park.
Graphic novels and comic books are all the rage right now, and they're not just for kids anymore. People of all ages are enjoying reading them in Canada. U of W Department of English professor Candida Rifkind has been teaching courses on comics for 15 years. She's examining how comics and graphic novels can tackle difficult and painful real-life topics and events. Joining us now from the University of Winnipeg Department of English is Professor Candida Rifkind. Good morning.
Hello.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
When I think about comics, I think my favorites when I grew up, it was Archie comic books.
Yep.
There was Tintin, because I was French, of course.
Yes.
Asterix, Obelix, and there was Garfield.
Yes.
How have things changed when it comes to comics and graphic novels?
Sure. Well, the first thing is that all those comics are still going and still hugely popular. And what we have seen in the last couple of decades is artists and cartoonists coming from different areas of society, different backgrounds, using comics to tell more serious stories, to tell stories that are very personal about their own identities or about their families or their family history. We're seeing an explosion right now of Indigenous comics that are telling stories about Indigenous history, Indigenous heroes and leaders, also stories about residential schools, and using that visual and verbal combination that comics has, pictures and words, to really deepen those stories and attract new readers.
What do you think has changed in society where it's adults can suddenly pick up graphic novels and it's okay, it's considered okay?
The first thing I should say is that in both Japan and France and Belgium, those are two cultures where comics have always been seen as something for adults. So it's really something that's happening in the Anglophone speaking world and in North America and in Europe. And I think what's changed is the comics themselves. They're becoming book-length forms, not like monthly serials or like the Archie comics, you would pick those up at the supermarket.
Right.
So they're being published by quite prestigious publishers, really high quality production, hardcover comics with a lot of attention to detail, beautiful objects, as well as very deep and moving stories that are also fact-checked because a lot of them are true stories. So it's just that comics have become another art form to tell stories that might otherwise be told in novels or autobiographies or documentary films.
I think about The Walking Dead too, which was sort of like the bridge. This was it was the graphic novels were created way before the series on TV.
Yes.
And that was beautifully produced as well.
Yes, and there are so many adaptations. So the obvious ones are the Marvel and DC superhero universe films, and there's always another one coming out, and that's a really rich universe. But there are also lots of independent writers and artists who don't work for major publishers or studios, who are using comics in really exciting and original ways, maybe incorporating art forms from their own culture or their background, or being really playful, taking something like the classic like history of cat and mouse fights in comics, going back to Tom and Jerry or earlier, and telling a serious story.
Okay, so you wrote this book. Tell us about this brand new book that you wrote.
Yeah, so I co-wrote it with a research colleague in the UK at the University of London. His name's Dominic Davies, and we were finding that every time we went to a work event or conference, we were both talking about the same things. And we decided, you know, academia can be very competitive, and professors are always trying to get the first book out. And we thought, no, what we're going to do is work together. So we have different areas of expertise, and we've written this book. We each write 3 chapters, and we're looking at comics that are really from 2 big publishing clusters in this area. One is those by and about Vietnam, the Vietnam War, and refugees who came to Canada, the US, Australia. And it's the children of those original refugees, the artist children, who are now wanting to tell that story and doing the research. The other cluster of comics is about refugees from Syria and the Middle East after 2015. So it's 2 kind of areas where we see these stories multiplying, and we see them deepening, and we see a lot of stereotypes about those refugees being challenged by comics.
And where can you find the book? We're out of time already.
You can find it at McNally Robinson or elsewhere.
Well, thank you for sharing this with us. It's such a cool genre and a cool trend. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right, kind of enjoying the slightly cooler temperatures that we're feeling out here this morning, or seasonal, if you will. Just the lack of sunshine is making it feel quite pleasant. And if you don't like mid-20s, which by the way is where we're headed today, make the most of these morning hours before the sun starts to break through from behind those clouds. It's 14 degrees right now with 3K winds out of the east-southeast. The pressure is falling, humidity sitting at 86%. And we are dealing with some slightly cleaner air. We've lucked in with those south winds overnight and through the morning. And throughout most of the day, winds should remain out of the south. So for southern Manitoba, air quality not too bad. For central and northern Manitoba, that is not the case at all. You are now under those heavy smoke warnings issued by Environment Canada. And we could possibly notice smoke increasing in the south here with the winds that'll be shifting from the west overnight or through the north for tomorrow. Today, sure, we have a few extra clouds hanging around. There will be some sunny breaks and mid-20 temperatures, and then back up to the seasonal 26 for tomorrow as the sky continues to clear, but only clearing with the clouds. I mentioned the smoke could be drawn in, so sunny, hazy, and a seasonal Saturday expected. Beautiful shot of the canola fields, looking so gorgeous and contrasted beautifully against that bright blue sky. Thanks to Nancy for the photo, and keep them coming, please, to Winnipeg weather at ctv.ca.
CTV Morning Live Weather brought to you by Garage Masters, your complete garage specialists.
It's that time of year, and CTV and Chicken Chef want you to share how you're soaking up the season. From concerts to getaways, whatever makes your Manitoba summer magical, we want to see it. We've seen some amazing moments so far, and now it's your turn to shine. Upload a photo of your summer fun for a chance to win the $5,000 grand prize, plus daily draws for $50 Chicken Chef gift certificates and a gorgeous patio set from Windeck to elevate your outdoor chill zone. So what are you waiting for? Grab your phone and share your summer with us today.
Canada's benchmark stock index, the S&P TSX Composite, rose by almost a full percentage point yesterday and will begin today's trading day at 27,386 points. In the U.S., stocks also rose yesterday, and futures contracts on the 3 main U.S. stock indices were higher this morning. Netflix exceeded the expectations of analysts with its second quarter results released after markets closed yesterday. Netflix reported revenue of $11.1 billion U.S. in the quarter and profit of $3.1 billion. Netflix stock has almost doubled over the past year, and the company is now worth more than Disney, Comcast, and Warner Brothers Discovery combined. Finally, the Canadian dollar was trading at 72.9 cents U.S. this morning. The loonie has weakened versus the U.S. dollar during July, but it's still up 5.5% since early March of this year. From the BNN Bloomberg Newsroom in Toronto, I'm Paul Bagnall.
CTV Morning Live is brought to you by Robin's Donuts, your favorite stop.
Good morning. Canada's Prime Minister Mark Carney met with First Nations leaders from across the country in a summit yesterday to talk about Bill C-5. This is the bill that was brought in to allow big major infrastructure projects to be fast-tracked across the country. The government says the bill is necessary for national interest in light of tariff and sovereignty threats from the United States. Manitoba Kiiwetinoong Ogimakinak Grand Chief Garrison Settee was at that meeting yesterday. He joins me now. Good morning, Grand Chief.
Good morning, Michelle.
Thank you for joining us. Now tell us how the meetings with Prime Minister Mark Carney went yesterday.
Well, I think that we came there with a lot of uncertainty as to how the conversation would go, especially when you consider the fact that it was done so abruptly and with a lot of questions that needed to be asked. So there was a lot of questions raised, and rightfully so, because this is something that affects the treaty rights and Indigenous rights of our people. So it was a very critical conversation.
Now, what are some of the biggest concerns First Nations people have about Bill C-5?
Well, I think that anything to do with our rights is always important. Anything that will impact our rights is also like something that we continue to raise, because it impacts our lands, our waters. Any project that happens will ultimately affect our people.
And so after yesterday's summit meeting, how did you feel? Do you feel like you were heard?
I think that there was an opportunity for major issues to be raised, and there's some reserved optimism by a lot of our chiefs, and there's those that are still skeptical, because the Prime Minister stated that trust is based on he wants our trust, but there's no constructive assurances and how that process will be defined. So we remain reserved in our optimism and ensuring that the process is co-developed by our people. That's the only way it'll work.
Now, many Canadians, of course, are worried about the threat coming from the U.S. What are ways that we can work together to protect our country?
Say it again.
There's many people who are worried about U.S. threats coming when it comes to our sovereignty, as well as, tariff threats. What are ways that we can work together to protect our country? Can you hear me, Grand Chief? Can you hear me?
I couldn't hear you there.
Okay, let's try that again. We're really bringing in some of these, this bill was brought in to protect our country from threats coming from the U.S. Do you think, what can we do to work together to ensure that our country is protected?
Obviously, we want to work with Canada. We want to be part of the economic prosperity of Canada, and we must figure out a process that will be mutually beneficial to all of us. So I think that going forward, we have to have assurances that we will be part of the economic prosperity, shared wealth, and also revenue sharing is something that's very critical, and that is the only way it'll work. In order for us to be part of this process, we must be assured and guaranteed that we will not be left out of the prosperity nor participating in the development of the poor process.
Well, Grand Chief, thank you so much for giving us your perspective and giving us an update on the situation. Thank you.
You're welcome. Have a good day.
You too. And we're heading into the weekend, Terry. It looks like there's a few warnings, air quality warnings in some parts of the province, but overall it's going to be warm.
You're right. It is going to be warm, but the air quality warnings have grown, or at least the area that they're warning of has grown. There's a look onto Graham Avenue. Honestly, it does look so pretty, all painted up. We've been talking about Graham Avenue. Anyway, I've posted some stuff on my Instagram. Maybe I'll give you another quick video. You'll find it there if you want to see the full effect of, or at least the stretch in front of us. It is on the cloudier side, but pleasant out there if you want to get outside and enjoy it. 14 degrees with winds out of the east-southeast, just 3 kilometers per hour. The pressure is falling and the humidity sitting at 86%. Get outside and enjoy these beautiful temperatures. It's a little bit cool. I know Director Kim was saying the other day she liked the cooler weather. Kim, take the last half hour of the show off. Get outside now. There you can see through northern Manitoba, that air quality warning, it's grown. It was just the northern part. Now much of central Manitoba included in that. It's pushed further to the east as well, and there's the air quality statement or advisory. And I wouldn't be surprised, we're being warned that the smoke could be moving in for us throughout tomorrow, with winds shifting out of the west overnight and then a north wind throughout the day tomorrow. But today the wind staying out of the south for southern Manitoba. We do have the heavier clouds, as you can see, and even a bit of of precipitation rolling right along that southern border, probably not likely to deal with rain here in Winnipeg. Just partly sunny conditions as those clouds break up momentarily. 25 degrees, a little bit warmer than it's been, down to 12 overnight. And then, yes, those winds starting to shift. A west wind overnight and then a north wind through the day tomorrow. And mainly sunny, but then smoky as that smoke starts to seep in. 26 degrees, that is a seasonal daytime high. We will still enjoy the mid-20 temperatures through Sunday. I don't know if we're enjoying it, though, if it starts to get smoky and then maybe soggy, but we welcome the rain. By Sunday evening, chance of showers that'll continue overnight and through Monday. And please, more of that, Mother Nature. We might get another round of that by about the middle of next week.
Thank you, Terry. A warning from police about a convicted sex predator who was released from prison Thursday. 43-year-old Glenn Gregory Tyler Posniak has spent the last decade at Stony Mountain Institution. In 2015, he was convicted of sex crimes, assaults, and making child pornography. He's now out of prison and expected to live in Winnipeg. The Manitoba Integrated High-Risk Sex Offender Unit says Posniak is a high risk to reoffend in a sexually violent way against boys and male teens. If you have information about Posniak, you're asked to call the Manitoba Integrated High-Risk Sex Offender Unit, Winnipeg Police, your local RCMP detachment, or Crime Stoppers. A Linden Woods homeowner says he was convinced a response from 311 about his broken curb was a typo. The city says it will look at fixing the curb, but getting around to it could take a few decades, that is.
I've been patching it up for the last 5.5 years, so you can see different colors of gray patching.
Curb leading to Rolf Witzel's driveway has been crumbling for years. Netzel blames some of the crumbling on erosion, but he says it is mostly the snowplows that come by every winter. So he called 311, hoping someone from the city could come take a look and possibly schedule a repair. An email came promptly saying his request will be looked into by July 4th, 2045. The city says that timeline is accurate unless the street comes up for renewal sooner. Witzel, however, has a plan B, hiring a crew of fronts.
And do the whole front properly with rebar and all kinds of stuff. I mean, it's going to cost time, money, and perhaps a couple of cases of beer.
According to the city's website, homeowners are generally responsible for repairs to their approaches, but a permit is required. A kiss cam at a Boston Coldplay concert turned up a lot more than people just happy to be shown on the big screen. It allegedly caught a married tech CEO cuddling with a colleague.
Yeah. Oh, look at these two. All right, come on. You're okay? Oh, what? Either they're having an affair or they're just very shy.
That video has racked up millions of views online. The couple in the video was later identified as astronomer CEO Andy Byron and the AI and data company's head of HR, Kristen Cabot. Byron is reportedly married with 2 children. Astronomer did not immediately respond to a request for comment. Biggie Smalls has come a long way. The Ottawa cat, famous on social media, has trimmed down from the dangerous 43 pounds that attracted so much attention. Here's CTV's Peter Sperling.
Biggie Smalls came by his first name, honestly.
He was 4 times the size of the average cat.
A year and a half ago, Biggie captured the world's attention.
You can do it.
Weighing in at 43 pounds.
Look at you.
And while he is still big, his last name no longer seems so quite ironic.
He weighs just over 26 now, and he's lost 16 pounds since he's came into care.
Christine Seguin rescued Biggie Smalls, helping him to lose weight.
So I was initially fostering him, and he could not walk out the bathroom door. He could not walk barely to his litter box. All of his food and things had to be brought to him.
With a goal of shedding even more, he already feels better.
He is so confident, so bright, and he's just a lot of fun.
And that weight loss journey, inspiring.
We're in the Big House Sanctuary and Rehab. It's our garage converted into a sanctuary space for overweight cats.
Launching a not-for-profit animal rescue for overweight cats.
When we got Biggie, we got so many shelters that reached out saying, do you know any rescues or places that we can send these severely, like extremely overweight cats? And there was nothing in the world I could find. And then I thought, why not try to create something like this?
So she created this with a goal of giving cats an extra life. There's Kilo. He's 27 pounds, here only a week so far. 14-year-old Maple, now just under 20 pounds. And Cookie, who is ready for adoption.
Each of these felines has his or her own story as to how they got to be plus-sized, but now
they're on a path to a healthier cat lifestyle.
We meet all their medical needs, what medications, surgeries, things they need, and then they're ready for adoption and those barriers are dropped. So people are more open to taking on one of these cats.
There are 5 cats here now, with more on the way, all getting a second chance thanks to Biggie Smalls.
For us, giving other cats that chance just makes my heart super happy.
Peter Sperling, CTV News.
Now he's just perfect. All right, taking a look outside on Kenniston Boulevard. Looks like things are moving well over here. No issues to tell you about in traffic. And let's look now at your gas prices. The Canadian average is $1.37. The provincial and Winnipeg averages are $1.30. The lowest price in the city is $1.29. All this info is on gasbuddy.com.
Price at the pump brought to you by kidneycard.ca. Get a free tow and a tax receipt for value of your car.
Let's check in now on our question of the day. We wanted to know, what was your favorite comic book as a kid? Sylvia says Archie. Susan says Andy Cap. Lindsay says Archie comics. I had hundreds of them. So did I. Loved them so much. Doreen says my favorite comic books when I was a kid was the Classics Illustrated series. The one that sticks in my mind was Green Mansions. Thank you for your responses. Let's go now to Ainsley McPhail, who's live in Morris this morning. The Manitoba Stampede is riding back into town. Good morning.
Good morning, Rochelle. 6 decades of the Manitoba Stampede, and it's not just about the rodeo, it's about the memories that are made over those many, many years. Tim Lewis joins us now. Not just the rodeo director, though. Somebody who has seen every single Manitoba Stampede. And what's cool about this T-shirt is that it's a piece of that history that you can walk around with on your back.
Absolutely. Somebody came up with the idea to put these retro T-shirts together, and although we haven't actually opened the store yet, or I think they were selling a few yesterday, but our directors and our committee people are all buying them quickly, so they're everybody's really liking them.
I bet. When it comes to what's happening on the grounds, tons to see, whether it be with the animal contests, whether it be with the rodeo. Starting tonight, well, actually starting Thursday, but tonight, what's going on?
Well, actually, it starts this morning over on the fair side. There's a lot of events that are going on in the fair ring. This afternoon at 2 o'clock, we have the chuck wagon and chariot races here in front of the grandstand, and tonight at 7 we have the only professional rodeo in Manitoba.
Mm-hmm. How thrilling is that when it all comes together? The competitive nature, having people come from all over the world.
It's great, and it gives you a bit of a rush when everybody starts showing up and things start falling together. It's a lot of work to put it together ahead of time, but when everything gets here and starts to work, it's a great feeling.
Mm-hmm. We talked about the history, and I do want to come back to that because it really is about the community and the love and the passion for its growth. So take us back 60 years. What are some of your first memories here at the Stampede?
I remember things have changed a lot over the years, but I remember some of the early acts that the special acts and things that were brought in to be part of the rodeo. The people, really, to me, is the big thing. There's a lady that she used to live here, and her dad used to be, I think she was the first general manager of the Stampede way back in the early days. She lives in California. She comes here every year for the show. Another gentleman that drove chuck wagons, and he's from Morris, still lives here. He's in his 80s now. He's here every day to watch and try and take part.
Thank you so much. 2,000 people living in Morris, but thousands and thousands more coming this weekend.
Okay, thank you, Ainsley, for this. So let's go out to the rooftop now. The flowers need a little grooming this morning.
They do. They need a little TLC. Yours probably do, too. I was noticing mine, even the ones that I have at home, which get even better care than the ones that are here. I have some sad flowers, and I have a feeling the smoke has a lot to do with that. Or maybe my lack of green thumb, I suppose, but I'm going to blame it on this smoke, which we're likely to see more of as we continue on through the weekend. We have for about a day and a half, or almost by the time today is done, 2 days, had some slightly cleaner air with winds out of the south, but that will eventually be changing. 14 degrees, the sun breaking out from behind those clouds again. The pressure is falling, the humidity is sitting at 86%. So temperatures back up into the mid-20s all throughout the weekend. And while today we're likely to deal with some extra clouds and a few sunny breaks, we have those winds out of the south today, keeping the slightly cleaner air here across southern Manitoba. But northern Manitoba has been dealing with heavy smoke for the past couple of days, and now central Manitoba has those warnings issued as well. And we too here in the south are expecting winds shifting out of the west overnight, out of the north for tomorrow, and we'll probably notice more of that smoke being drawn in again. We need the rain. We're not likely to see much of it. Parts of northern or central Manitoba may see some scattered precipitation today or right along the southern border. Most of us here in the southeastern side, it'll take until we're wrapping up the weekend Sunday night and then continuing with those showers into Monday. Taking a break right now. We'll be back with more. Oh, the sun is back. Yeah, looks good. We'll be back in a few minutes with more CTV Morning Live.
CTV Morning Live weather brought to you by Mr. Lube Plus Tires. Same day oil and tire changes.
Have a news tip? When you see news happening, let CTV News Winnipeg know. Text your tips, pictures, and videos to 10400. That's 10400. Message and data rates may apply.
It's 8:45. A warning now about river water quality. A group called Wilderness Committee has found extreme concentrations of dangerous E. coli bacteria in a Winnipeg river.
This is also a health risk, right? Because there's somebody standing around the corner fishing right now, and we know what the water quality test was. They don't know that they shouldn't be touching their hooks or their fishing line.
The samples were taken earlier this month. Tests on the Red and Assiniboine rivers showed E. coli levels within Manitoba's beach guidelines, but that wasn't the case for a sample taken from the Seine River near Happy Land Park in St. Boniface. The lab found E. coli levels there to be more than 8 times the level that the province uses to close down beaches. The organization says Winnipeg needs a citywide water quality monitoring program and a way to warn the public.
We build infrastructure for people to use the river. There's a kayak dock on the Seine River. We have boat launches on the Red River. People go on the Assiniboine River at the Forks all the time. So what does the quality of the water really look like?
The group says it doesn't know what caused the spike in bacteria levels in that area of the river. 2 frustrated dog owners are speaking out after they say their service animals were not allowed to board flights with them despite completing online training programs. As CTV's Pat Foran reports, they were shocked to find out the courses are not recognized by 2 Canadian airlines.
I need Simon.
Ian and Jeannie Holland of Bob Cajun were planning a dream trip to France. Ian has been with his service dog Simon for the past 7 years and says he helps him with several mental health issues he deals with on a daily basis.
He helps me function. He means everything to me. He helps me navigate the day.
To make sure Simon could go on their trip, the couple took online service dog training courses and got a note from their doctor saying Simon was required for a medical condition. But they were surprised when Air Canada said online certification wasn't good enough and Simon would have to stay home.
It's going to be difficult too because Ian hasn't been without Simon in the 7 years, not one day, not one night.
When we reached out to Air Canada, a spokesperson said the customer used an online training company to certify a service dog. We do not recognize owner-trained dogs as properly certified.
He's been with me since day one.
Patrick Nguyen of Mississauga has undergone several serious operations and also has mental health issues. He has a trip planned for Vancouver this September and was going to take his service dog Noodle with him.
He does remind me to take my medications every day. He's everything to me. Like he's my baby. He's basically my son.
Nguyen also did online courses for service dog training, but Porter Airlines informed him it doesn't recognize the courses. A spokesperson told CTV News a service dog is one that has been individually trained by an organization or person specializing in service dog training. Nguyen says the online training was good enough for other airlines, which allowed him to fly with Noodle as a service dog. He says without Noodle by his side, he'll cancel his trip.
I can't travel without my service dog. I cannot.
The Hollands decided to move forward with their trip to France without taking Simon, but had concerns about how it would go.
It just brings me to tears just to think that both of them will have to be without each other, and it breaks my heart.
Pat Foran, CTV News.
Our guest this morning is an energy efficiency specialist with Efficiency Manitoba, Bailey Dick, joining me this morning. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
I am excited to learn a little bit more about this program. It's the Affordable Home Energy Program. I know nothing about it. Bailey, fill me in.
Yeah, so the Affordable Home Energy Program helps Manitobans make the switch to a ground source heat pump. And at Efficiency Manitoba, we have financial support, including increased incentives and on-bill financing to help cover the cost of installing a ground source heat pump, making energy efficiency upgrades more affordable and accessible for Manitoba families.
Okay, let's talk about these ground source heat pumps and what some of the benefits of them are.
Yeah, so a ground source heat pump is the most energy efficient way to both heat and cool your home, especially in Manitoba's cold climate.
Oh, yes.
Yes. So for example, if you currently have an electric furnace, by upgrading to a ground source heat pump, you could reduce your electric heating costs by up to 60%. Plus, you'll enjoy a more comfortable and consistent temperature throughout your home. And then to get the most benefit from your heat pump, we recommend first making your home as energy efficient as possible through building envelope upgrades such as adding more insulation.
Okay, I mean, everybody wants to have a more efficient home, right? Yes. Saving dollars along the way. Let's talk about some of the offers that you have available right now.
Yeah, we have multiple offers available to help Manitobans install a heat pump, including for new construction and existing single-family homes, income-qualified households, First Nation and Métis communities, and multi-unit residential buildings. And our ground source heat pump offers have been significantly increased. So homeowners can have a no-interest monthly payment added to their Manitoba Hydro energy bill, and we'll pay the contractor directly. And then also we'll support homeowners every step of the way. So from upgrades like insulation to energy evaluations to choosing the right heat pump for your home.
Very nice. Okay, so if somebody is curious about this program, wants to find out either if they're eligible or just learn a little bit more, where do they go for the information?
Yeah, so the best place would be at efficiencymb.ca, and here you can learn about all the offers I've mentioned and how to participate.
Fantastic. Bailey, thanks so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having me.
14 degrees outside right now with east-southeast winds, very light, just 3 clicks. The pressure is falling and the humidity at 86%, and we've lucked in with those south winds here across much of southern Manitoba, keeping the air a little bit cleaner, a little bit fresher. Unfortunately, for much of northern Manitoba, this area of the heavy smoke has grown, and now much of central Manitoba is included in those warnings, even parts of northwestern Ontario, and if not that, then the advisory or the statement. Across southern Manitoba, a few clouds, a little bit of precipitation. That'll just be kissing the very southern border. Parts of central Manitoba could see some precipitation today. We won't likely see any until Sunday night and into Monday. What we will notice first, though, is likely the smoke increasing with winds out of the west overnight and out of the north for tomorrow. While the clouds clear out, the smoke is likely to move in. So seasonal, but a little bit smoky on Saturday. Then the heavier clouds Sunday, and that much-needed rain, which we will welcome, coming overnight and into Monday, and maybe even another round as we're looking to the middle of next week. Taking a break right now, but we'll be back with more CTV Morning Live.
Rooftop arrangements provided by Lacoste Garden Center.
Salon services provided by Essentique Spa Salon.
Well, Terry, it's Friday, and that means different things to different people. It means French fries for these piggies. Prissy and Pop love getting dressed up and going to the drive-thru for their favorite food.
It's Friday.
Looks like they enjoy this day. Don't we all?
That's silly.
I like their little teeth. Look at them. They're so cute. Well, let's stay with pigs. This little piggy went surfing.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, check out Rosita, the surfing swine. This pint-sized pig can hang 10 like the best of them. She loves the sand and the surf, and after a couple of riding, a couple of gnarly waves, she was stoked.
That would make my vacation. If I saw that, witnessed that in real life.
It doesn't even seem to bother her. And now one of these things is not like the other. This duckling is the odd one out, enjoying itself in the pool with duck zoomies. Watch it spin in circles, excited to swim for the first time.
He's malfunctioning out there.
Yeah, there's something going on there. Zoomies indeed. Have a wonderful weekend. We'll see you Monday.